Possibly.
Yeah, I got oh, good. I got the feed on my phone. It's running pretty good. It's it looks like it's running about 10 or so seconds behind.
Well, that's a whole
It's
lot
not bad.
better than not working. Okay, people are saying that it's actually working.
Okay,
that's a good
perfect.
sign. We just got to get the mariachi back in here.
Hey, we're drinking with the Trube.
Drinking with the Trube.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I like it.
I can fix it. I can fix it in post. It's fine.
The Whiskey Trube. I like it.
There we go.
What is all this ruckus, Terry? I don't know.
Oh no, it's Terry the Narc.
Is he a narc?
Hey Terry, what's
I
up?
guess he is a narc.
Terry Dolan.
Dolan Duck.
All right. Just, what should I get? What should I get next? Adam, you know what I have. Pick something.
Glendronach 12.
Okay. Let me just finish off this Hibiki.
Yeah.
Hibiki is good stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Christina, we hear you typing.
Mm.
Glendronach. So, Adam.
Yes.
The other night when we had me, you, and Brad had that live stream, and we had those 12 Glencairns just all like used up.
Yeah.
I went to put them in the dishwasher, and then my mother opened up the dishwasher the next morning and just got a face full of smoke, just like that morning after smoke in the glass of the Glencairns.
Jeez.
She apparently damn near almost like vomited from the amount of smoke that just like hit her in the face.
Oh yikes!
It was bad.
I guess we did douse most of them with Octomore. So
yeah, it was Octomore found its way into a lot of things that night.
I see. Yeah, oh, definitely it did.
But yeah, it was 12. It was 12 Glencairns of just like something peaty, something sweet, and it was just like apparently a really bad combination left over, all in a closed case environment overnight.
Whew.
Didn't you say that the Octomore just dominated everything that you put it in?
Yeah.
And it does. That's Octomore dominates all.
Yeah, we did. When I was with Cody Powers and a couple of other guys, we blended like 15 whiskeys together. Most of which were heavily peated, and you could tell that it was the Octomore floating on top. It was the Octomore and the Weiser's Dissertation. You get the orange and the rye from the Dissertation.
Yeah.
And it was like, probably 15 other whiskeys, more or less in equal parts. It was a pretty ridiculous blend.
That's an excellent use of the challenge coin, Chris.
Wait, so the big shelf behind me, holds up majority of my Islas and my Japanese, and then I have a little tower there. So easy access whenever I'm feeling like a quick pour.
There you go. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's a nice little thing. Like when you walk in, and it's just like you just face first of all the whiskeys that I have. So I wish it was an office.
Yeah, I have them all lined up on my dresser in my closet there. So and it's a north-facing room, so they're out of direct sunlight. So I figure that's not too bad. I have had to move them out a couple of times just because it gets too hot in here, because
Yeah.
we had a stupid heat wave about a week ago, and it was just getting too hot in the floor. We do get stupid heat waves even in Canada.
It happens.
It was
Right.
today.
Hey, sometimes the week of summer we get is harsh, you know?
Yeah.
What's it get around 70 up there?
Almost, man, almost.
Yeah. Oh, Christina's trying to put a curse on us. The
Me
lion.
and Josh are laughing because we know what heat is.
Oh yeah, Jeff, don't worry. I'm on my computer now instead of my phone, so hopefully we won't get the ghosts that were plaguing the other broadcast.
It is odd that Ray's the least bearded guy here now.
It's true. It's bizarre.
How? Oh my god.
That's not right. It's not
That's
right
it.
at all.
It isn't. It isn't. I'm ashamed at myself, but it was for a good cause. So
Yeah.
That's true.
back.
I haven't had Glendronach 12 in a really long time.
Well, I'm glad I picked it.
It's really nice on it.
Mhm.
I've actually never had anything from them.
I'm trying to think if I have it. I don't think I have.
I think I've had the 8 and the 12, and the 8 was good but young, and then the 12 was solid. I've heard the cast strength ones that they do are really excellent.
Hmm.
Yeah, for being supposedly like a cherry bomb, it's not that crazy in
That
terms
was-
of cherry. Yeah.
That was my impression as well, that it's not quite as intense a sherry bomb as you might expect, associated with the name. But yeah, and they do a mix of Oloroso and PX sherry, so if you
Yeah.
Mm.
yeah, that's good stuff.
So besides, what's everyone drinking? Let's have a real quick run around. Brad, did you open up that seasoned oak?
Yep, seasoned oak, very good. Definitely can smell and taste the very oak forward flavors. But yeah,
I would expect so.
it's all oak and baking spices and a little bit of brown sugar maybe. And I don't know. It's very good. A little spicy.
Adam, remind us what you're drinking.
Well, I have this Springbank 12 cast strength in front of me, but I also have this glass of my home-aged, I guess it's Canadian whiskey. It started as Canadian moonshine, and it's been in my tiny barrel for a couple months now, and now it's that color.
Damn.
Crazy.
Yeah, it got super dark, and it's definitely a rye, but it's like the whole thing's been taken over by like vanilla and a lot of oak on the back end. And like, yeah, maybe a little bit of like gingerbread sort of thing, and like brown sugar. It's really good.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I'm planning on actually emptying the barrel in a little bit. And I mean, if I could get it, I would have used like 100% malted barley moonshine, but I couldn't find anything, and this was the only overproof moonshine I could get. So now at the end of the day, I'll have a rye seasoned barrel. And I might as well show you the barrel here. It's a dinky 1 liter barrel. So I have I've been looking at really cheap blended malts to fill it with. It might end up being, I picked up a bottle of Shackleton on clearance the other day, and I tried it and it's just okay. So I might try to see what some extra age and rye will do to it.
You get so lucky with these finding stuff on sale at the LCBO. I never get lucky. I never see anything.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, the ones that are close to me happen to be the ones that do these clearance sales. Apparently, there's one in Leslieville that does these clearances. There's the Bay Bluer one in the Manulife Center. That one has like, I got Redbreast 12 cast strength for $85 there. Which is stupid. And again, that's $85 Canadian, which is like 60, 58 American. Yeah, that was marked down stupid. And I've never seen a clearance sale at the one, 45 seconds down the street. And lo and behold, I was there yesterday, and there it was. So yeah, it's been entirely luck, and checking the Canadian whiskey subreddit every now and then. But like, I had only seen those posts after I had already gone in and said, "Hey, there's a clearance sale." So that's a long story of what I'm drinking. Raymond, what are you drinking?
I am about to pour me some Clyde Mays, and I'm pairing it with some Balkan pipe tobacco.
I was gonna ask what you have in the pipe. That's something I want to sort of get slowly into. I feel like I didn't really enjoy pipe tobacco and the gentlemanliness that comes along with it.
Well, I'll tell you this: if you're pairing pipe tobacco with any whiskey, it's very crucial tobacco you choose, because they're aromatic and they can overpower your whiskey. So it's pretty difficult to find the right balance with the right whiskey. But what I have is a Balkan Sesieni, which is a Latakia. It's going to pair best with probably a rye, because it's some of the same notes. If you were going to, let's say, Speyside or a Highland Scotch, you're probably going to be better off going with a Virginia blend. But it's really nice. It's really nice and relaxing, and it's fun to explore and challenge the senses, because I find pairing pipe tobacco with whiskey is a lot more challenging than, let's say, a cigar, because you have so much competing aromatic notes. At the same time, you're trying to experience the whiskey, so it's really challenging, really fun to explore. Really frustrating at times, because you can totally ruin one or the other.
Right.
But it's a good time. I like it.
That's cool.
Nice.
Very cool.
All right, Vito, you're up.
Everyone knows I got the Glendronach 12 at the moment. I'm thinking of probably getting my Dalmore travel exclusive down. I haven't had that in a while.
Oh yeah.
And what's that?
Fancy.
Yeah, it's a 1 liter bottle. The emblem's extra big. 1 second, let me grab it from the shelf.
Extra fiddly.
Oh, the fiddliness.
Woo! Look at that guy.
It's as big as my face. Yeah, all the caramel coloring.
Oh yeah.
So I have a question for everybody, because you guys might be a little bit more knowledgeable about it than I am. I'm not sure if you saw the post that I had the other day about the bottle of Royal Lochnagar that I found in my parents' cellar. Okay, now
I did see that.
it was probably given to them about 2.5 years ago, and they've been storing it like this. Now, how long do you think is too long for the cork to be in contact with the whiskey before it starts to kind of ruin things?
Is it real cork or synthetic?
Honestly, I'm not too sure. If it's synthetic, then I guess I'm in good shape, but I'm not too sure. I haven't opened it yet. I was gonna do a stream sometime this week and open it up, or I can open it up right now.
Go for it.
Do it.
Okay, I'll open.
No,
Okay,
no, don't.
you guys convinced me.
Peer pressure. Peer pressure.
Peer pressure. Peer pressure. Peer pressure.
Do it for the boy.
Once I finish this Glendronach, I'll open it up. Just stick with. I'll do a Highland journey tonight. Stick with that stuff.
Deal.
What else? I think that's it. You guys want to see something funny?
Yes.
Of course.
Since I'm just gonna be selfish and just
Go nuts. Oh, I have seen that.
Yeah, you were here when you saw it. That is, and yes, I was down to my nipples.
So
Those
good.
booties are something else, man.
They are.
That is beautiful.
I had had that picture taken in Edinburgh when I was there last year.
Oh,
So
awesome.
it's legit kilt stuff.
Nice.
I do have a picture of me in a kilt, but unfortunately, I cannot get it to you because. But yeah, I was very proud that day. It was for a wedding, and I wore my family's colors, so it was awesome.
Jeez, I wish my.
Oh, are you Scottish?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, so you can properly wear it without getting in trouble.
Yeah, I'm actually my grandfather's family's from the O'Donnell clan, which is a Highland part of Scotland, and yeah, they're one of the larger clans.
That's awesome.
So I've the rumor is that one of my distant relatives was friends with the real William Wallace, and they both fled to Spain right before they both got the chop. So.
Wow.
So there's that, but it's just rumor and probably just some excited family members started spreading that. But it's a nice story to tell.
Yeah,
It's been said on the internet now, so it's got to be true.
It's not fake news. It's on the internet.
The whiskey golem has judged you truthful.
There you go.
Am I the only one here that didn't know that there was such a thing as a tactical kilt? I just found this out.
Is that such a thing?
There is.
I have heard that term. I'm not sure I know what it means.
I wonder what. I guess what it's a battle ready kilt. Would you fight it?
Kind of think about like military fatigues, but in kilt form.
Oh, okay.
Like a kilt with a Batman utility belt.
If you're wearing a kilt, you better be ready for battle unless you're in Scotland.
Fair.
Every kilt is tactical. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
If you're brave enough.
Well, I can tell you the day that I wore my kilt, I was very proud. I didn't care how many people busted my chops about it. So if you're secure in your masculinity enough to wear a kilt, you're secure enough to do pretty much damn near anything.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So I have a question for you guys.
Yes.
How do you think that the people that are already, the people that are not actively like involved in the tribe, how do you think some of the ways that we can invite them to be more active and be more prevalent as far as their I don't know, activity in the tribe, and just try to include them more? How do you think we can do that? Encourage that? Because I think there's a lot of people that have a lot to say that
You gotta have more.
I feel like who wants to go first?
You go for it.
Okay. I like the idea of like encouraging it, but I feel like Daniel and Rex have kind of put it out there that like they're the openness and the community at a baseline being as inviting and easygoing as it is in itself really inviting environment to partake in. Now, if people don't feel comfortable with it, I feel like it should be left up to them to naturally progress from being, lurking, or lurking is a bad word, but it's Reddit term, whatever, to being extremely more shift into being more active. I'm not too sure how to really do it naturally from the outside. If people don't already feel comfortable participating in like chats or comments or sharing their experiences unless they start it. But that's just how I feel. Coming from an introvert that really tries hard to put himself out there, always found that the easiest way for myself is to just naturally kind of like ease myself into it and then jump in head first. And I feel like that's how I started with this community, at least, is like kind of just like feeling it out, seeing where everything is, and then kind of going in head first and really like putting myself out there.
Mm-hmm. Levi in the chat saying he's not very active. He mostly enjoys just being a spectator. Levi, is there anything that that you'd want to get involved in? We have, our target audience right here, right? So I guess there is a delay, right?
There is a bit of
by a few seconds. Yeah, it shouldn't be too long.
Yeah.
You're looking
Yeah.
Yes, Wade, we should absolutely make sure that they know about the phase 1 and phase 2 of the collapse.
You guys hear about the thing that happened with the barrels? Tragic.
Oh God, my heart goes out to all of those barrels.
Screw the barrels. My heart goes out to the whiskey.
Yeah, the barrels will survive, right?
No, I just think that I love it when people get involved, and my involvement kind of came as a fluke and out of boredom, but it evolved into something pretty great. And for me personally, I enjoy seeing all you guys get involved in the live chats and your views of whiskey in general, and seeing what you guys put out there. And I just love seeing anybody and everybody take more of an active step in terms of cultivating the whiskey culture, even outside of the tribe. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I raised that question.
I was little quick story. I was at I was telling Adam about this. I went to a NATO gala for like NATO, like the actual like big NATO thing, and I was wearing my whiskey pin, and everybody at this gala was wearing like, a NATO pin or a government pin or whatnot, and they were all kind of like, every time someone would come up to you, they would look at your pin and just be like, "Oh, you're associated with so and so." So I had a couple of
tribe at NATO.
So I had a couple of people walk up to me and like look at my pin and like, "Oh, who are you associated with?" And they would like go up to my pin and just be like, "Whiskey Tribe bastard." They're like, what is that? So I'm there with a whole bunch of like high profile people, like naval officers, like the VP of NATO was there, and they're all like kind of like looking at me like, "Who is this guy?" And then they come up to me and it's like, "Whiskey Tribe bastard, like who is this guy?" So it was an interesting story. Like I told them about the community and everything and they all were really like, really cool about it, because a lot of the guys being in high profile positions, they all tended to like Scotch. So the conversation naturally progressed, was shifted to Scotch talk and whatnot. But it was really interesting to kind of share and hear their opinions on like stuff that was happening on the internet concerning whiskeys and what the community was kind of trying to share and talk about. So it was kind of interesting to be there, and it was the first time really that I was talking to people outside of my immediate group of friends or people on the tribe about this. So it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's better.
That's spreading the good word of whiskey.
Yeah, it's pretty cool when you have the opportunity to spread what we've come to love about our culture and to people that otherwise have a different view. In my experience, you have two different views. You have the partier aspect of whiskey, which is just to get drunk and raise all kinds of hell, or you have the high class, which you put on a suit and your smoking jacket and your bottle of scotch, and you keep the lower end out, which I think is interesting considering our community, which is like we're all inclusive. We're about building that friendship and just bonding over that over the spirits that we enjoy, and it's pretty awesome when we have the opportunity to invite people into the world that we know and let them know that, hey, whiskey is more than about a specific lifestyle, it's a bonding that can really transcend a lot of situations, and that's evident in this conversation. It's evident in me, being able to meet Brad when he came down here, or having conversations with you guys, and meeting people in other parts of the world and cultivating a friendship. So it's awesome to have those opportunities.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
For
absolutely.
sure, yeah.
Put it very well there, Ray.
Mhm.
It's been amazing to watch it like kind of develop organically, especially recently. I think, I mean, a year ago, I would have never thought of broadcasting a distillery tour to, I don't know, 20, 30 people.
That was amazing, by the way. Thank you. That was.
And now
that was a lot of
you've
fun.
done what, 2 or 3 of them now?
I did Balcones, which was totally unplanned. We planned to like hang out and drink some whiskeys and then say, okay, bye guys, we're going to go do the tour. But we ended up, doing the whole thing. And then I did the one from Santa Fe Spirits the other day. And I would have never dreamed of doing something like that before seeing other people do their things, by put themselves out there. And that example that people are setting of showing everybody else that, hey, it's, do your thing, be creative, contribute, put yourself out there, and it's safe. People are going to be accepting and supportive in this community. I think that in itself has really encouraged the organic involvement of everyone.
Yeah,
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Lance in the chat was talking about how the community involvement is probably going to start going up quite a bit once there's sanctioned meetup guidelines and things like that, and people can really kind of spread out into meet space and have real events that are sort of centered around the tribe, as opposed to sort of not really talking about the tribe in sort of meetup groups and things like that. It's hard.
That's going to be really interesting to see how they organize the meetups. That's going to if they're going to partner with distilleries in cities, or if they're just going to pick like one person in every city that kind of does the organizing, or I'm curious how this is gonna shake out.
Yeah, ditto. Especially since I have a meetup group already that's whiskey specific that I haven't really dealt with the tribe stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out once they get all official.
I've met a handful of cool people in Austin. Just we've met up at a happy hour or something like that. But it would be really nice to have an organized group meeting. And I've seen a few of those happen. Like there's some guys that out in California, I think, that do a regular thing that are all in the tribe. But it'll be interesting to see what guidelines they put out there.
Yeah.
For all that.
Definitely. I can't wait personally. I mean, when they first brought it up, my thoughts wandered towards like it's going to have to be some type of a district type of thing, because not everybody can travel everywhere all the time or whatever. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, but I look forward to whatever happens, and hopefully I can be a part of it and help it grow.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is everybody still on the same whiskey?
I'm just about.
I need a new one.
I haven't poured anything new yet.
Pretty low there.
There goes this glass of this barrel.
So none of you, have any of you had the Westland before?
I have
Canada.
not.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I have not.
Okay.
I think I might have James pick me up a bottle, or pick up a bottle for us to have when I go down to Vegas in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
He's got a couple of nice bottles down there. He's gonna teach me something about bourbon apparently. So really excited about that. But yeah, I'm curious if he's gonna be able to get a Westland, or if I can find a Westland to bring once I land. How it works out, but yeah, I'm hoping that I'll be able to try it.
Yeah, I'm planning on picking up multiple Balcones products on my next trip to the States.
That should be my next thing, Balcones. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, because all those Texas distilleries. Yeah, Garrison Brothers, Westland. That's not Texas, but Balcones, yeah, there's just a huge gap in what we get just north of the border here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll probably end up bringing a couple of things from Balcones back with me.
That would be wonderful. You're not driving back, are you?
No.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought. Just double checking.
No.
Come on, it's just down the road, Brad.
It's
Just
what,
down
like
the
a
road.
25-hour drive or something like that?
Yeah, that's nothing.
Like 25 hours of driving.
Yeah.
Coming from a guy that's driven coast to coast, that's not bad.
I mean, I did Edmonton to Ottawa, which is almost the same distance.
Yeah, that's
Oh, that's
probably
but
further,
I mean,
actually.
Oof.
it was a trip.
I was driving through Manitoba.
Long?
Yeah.
I had a friend drive through Manitoba once, and it was just like it was the exact same thing from border to border, just all tree, nothing else.
Yeah, that's a disgusting, disgusting part of the country. Disgustingly untouched.
Yep.
All right, I have another question. What style of whiskey do you guys absolutely hate that you hate?
Hate that I
Hate
hate.
that I hate.
Yeah, like for me, I can't stand most ryes, and it pisses me off.
Yeah.
So every month or so, I buy a brand new rye, hoping that it's going to change my world and get me into rye, because it pisses me off that I can't explore it the way I want to because it just doesn't agree with my palate. So, what is that style of whiskey for you guys?
I would say it's the exact same thing. But I would up until very recently, I would have said bourbon and rye. I've been slowly trying to force myself to acclimate to bourbon, using like old fashioned as a base to kind of just bring my senses up. And about a month and a half, 2 months ago, my buddy bought a bottle of Blanton. And I hated it. He bought it. I tried it, didn't like it. I had it again a couple of weeks ago. I sort of liked it, and I had it again for the third time a couple of nights ago, and I finally started getting something from it, and it wasn't unpleasant to drink. So I'm getting there with bourbons, and I'm really happy about that, because that was the main one that I was like, I should really like bourbon. Not that I should like bourbon, but I was just like, I really want to appreciate it, because again, like with scotches, which is what my preference, it's all pretty much ex-bourbon at the very least, right? So I felt like I should at least be able to appreciate bourbons to see the transition that it goes through. So like if I were to have Maker's Mark and then try Lefroy, like, can I pull anything from it, really test myself. So that's kind of going well for me. But rye, I'm having so much trouble with rye. Same thing. It's just, I'm not too sure if it's because of the overly dominant predominant flavors of it, the licorice, the pepper, and all of that, that remind me of liquors that I really hate, like Sambuca and Grappa and stuff like that. And it's just causing my brain to just go, no, get this stuff away from me. But I'm hoping that I kind of eventually find a way around that and start appreciating rye. But yeah, at the moment it's really rye, same as you.
Yeah,
right. What about pretty much the same boat? Pretty much the same boat. I've only so far actually really, really enjoyed Lot 40 cask strength as far as rye. And I think it might have to do with the high proof. Something is different, and it's not giving me the same kind of just funky notes that I get in a lot of ryes that don't agree with me at all. And I kind of was the same way with bourbon too. Like the higher proof bourbons kind of led me to enjoy other bourbons more. So maybe I'll just try to get a lot of high proof ryes and see if I can find more that I like.
Yeah, I'm curious because I wonder if it's because it's that cast strength, that Lot 40 cast strength. I wonder if it's because it's cast strength that that you're not getting that typical reaction from it.
Yeah, like it's bringing out extra notes and muting some notes that I don't like. Something like it's clearly changing whatever I don't typically like about rye. So I'll have to experiment with more higher proof ryes and see if that holds true with other things.
So the thing that's interesting here is this is 100% rye. There's nothing else in it, right? And to me, it's unique among ryes. It doesn't have a pickle kind of thing going on. It doesn't have a licorice note. It doesn't have eucalyptus or anything like that. It smells an awful lot like dark chocolate to me.
Really?
Okay, interesting.
That's interesting.
I do like dark chocolate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, like, it's going back to what Vito's saying about, you know, experimenting. And I know that I haven't had the time or space to experiment myself because, you know, I have a limited budget, and I'd rather stick with Scotch that I know that I'll like, or Irish that I know that I'll like, than take more of a chance on like a nice bourbon or a nice rye. But yeah, like I'll extend that to just Canadian whiskey. It's sort of tough being surrounded by you know, unique whiskeys and not really enjoying that many of them. Yeah.
I'm curious if because of our where we are with our experience with rye being a lot of Crown Royal and stuff like that, and the Canadian way of making whiskey where they ferment everything separately and put it all together. I wonder if that could be, now I'm thinking about it, that might have, since we're all kind of on the same page, I wonder if that's a leading factor in our own reservations about rye.
Or whiskey
and just having a lot of access to really shitty ryes and not access to good ryes.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I mean, I think for me, it's just the overwhelming kind of black licorice that I can't get past.
Yeah.
And I know that there's more behind that, but it's just that note that just hangs me up, and it just obsessively pisses me off.
Yeah.
There's literally been nights that I have woken up in the middle of the night being pissed off that I can't drink a good rye.
I'm the exact same way. If it has a hint of licorice, or some of them smell like I shoved my face into a bag of rotten dill, I hate it.
Yeah. It pisses me off because my philosophy has always been every whiskey has its story, either the creation story, its history, or the stories that it brings to mind, whether imagined or a memory. And it pisses me off that I have such a hard time finding that story within ryes, and it's just beyond maddening.
Okay, I think I'm gonna open up this Loch Nagar.
Oh yeah.
Do it.
12 year. Anything on the label? It's 40%. Highland single malt, 12 year. Sweetly perfumed, then lightly firmer. This subtle and woody malt is typical of the Highland style. The lingering finish has a fine sandalwood character.
Huh.
By appointment to the late Majesties Queen Victoria, King Edward VII, and King George V.
All right.
Let's see if this cork is in one shape. Or one piece, I should say.
My barrel is plugged up. The spout's not working. That is bizarre. I guess I don't need it to. I can just drop
it was leaking before, wasn't it? So technically that might be progress.
And now there's nothing coming out. It's bizarre. But, you know, if we're talking about rye, like, I'll say that, bless you. I'll say that this might be one of the better ryes that I've had. Like, it also doesn't have pickles necessarily or licorice. Definitely not licorice. It's probably got the eucalyptus. but I don't. My dad hates eucalyptus, so I'm really not around a whole lot of eucalyptus smells. But it's more. I think it's more intensely floral than anything. Certainly some kind of spice, and there's like something savory in there. Maybe like turmeric. I'm not sure. Actually, yeah. No, that's what it is. It's turmeric.
That's a strong flavor.
Yeah, no, but like that's more what's coming across than the than dill or licorice or anything. It's bizarre. And then yeah, on the palate, it's all like vanilla and oak. I'm gonna have to bottle this and see how it really turned out.
So this cork on this scotch, it's not synthetic, but it's in one piece. There's no corky smell to anything, which is kind of good.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Good sign.
I think one of the things that you're going to have to worry about is by storing that whiskey the correct way, that cork, if it dries out enough, it could turn flaky.
Yeah.
Become less durable.
Yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, that's something to consider as well. Now.
It might be worthwhile changing that cork to something else.
Yeah. I'll look into it. Thank you, sir.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I think I figured out what happened. I just emptied my barrel into the Glencairn, and there was this much whiskey in it. The rest of it evaporated.
Wow.
Like the barrel is empty.
Those Canadian heat waves.
That's
right?
it.
I mean,
it's the heat wave we had a few weeks ago.
Hot in this room,
that's it.
But my God.
Wow, who knew 80 degrees could affect your whiskey that much?
Well, I have some tiny bottles here, so I guess I'll package it up.
All I can say is the Angels are greedy bastards.
Right?
Yeah. That's accurate.
I really have to. All right, now I know I really have to watch for that. Jesus Christ!
This Loch Nagar is there's nothing interesting happening with it. It just smells very generically Highland. Nothing really stands out.
I'm not familiar with that brand.
Neither am I. Like I said, one of my exes gave it to my father a couple of years ago as a gift when she came back from Scotland. Trying to see on Master of Malt if there's anything, and nothing. Yeah, nothing crazy. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's very much to talk about with it. It's nothing. Nothing's grabbing. It's not grabbing me on the nose at the very least.
Maybe it's sneaky. Maybe it doesn't have much nose.
Well, I started with 750 mils. I'm down to 4 ounces and a quarter of a Glencairn.
That's some Angel share.
Okay, well, that's an important lesson. I'm glad I didn't have single malt in here while I learned that. So, cheers, boys.
Cheers. This is gonna go into a decanter. This is what I'm gonna give people when they come over.
Just get rid of it.
Yeah. Well, like it's not Canadian mist. I'll put it that way. It's not
much.
It's not that I want to get rid of it. It's not that I want to get rid of it. It's not bad. It's extremely friendly for a Scotch. There's a bit there. It's not burny. It's not hard. It's just there. It's got a long finish, but it's just a finish of just like a mellow sherry. Nothing really much else other than that.
There you
Well,
go.
just to be clear, there are worse whiskeys than Canadian Mist. Hay Club is chief among those.
That bottle looks like a cologne bottle.
Yeah.
It does.
It
It
looks
does.
like
The
an
Hay
old
Club bottle
school
looks totally like cologne.
Looks like you
bottle.
put like lavender oil or something in it.
Yeah. And let me tell you, that whiskey is probably as close to vodka as you can possibly get, with a little touch of corn. Because you get these you have to look for the subtle fruit notes. But other than that, it's like right in line with rubbing alcohol. Christina, she describes it as embalming fluid or dead people or something like that. I mean,
She says it's not so bad that you want to put a sword through it,
Notes are from
as they did with the Canadian Mist.
it's insane. I mean, that is the whiskey that I had when I would bring people over that liked vodka. If they hated whiskey, I would try that, and they would be like, "Oh, this is great." And in my head, I'm thinking, "You're freaking retarded, man. This is horrible."
Do we count blended? Sorry, not blended. Do we count spiced whiskeys or flavored whiskeys in this?
Flavored whiskey is a whole other animal.
I wouldn't.
That's a whole different category.
Yeah, it's a different thing, right?
Yeah.
One quick note:
I'll be right back.
the Hay Club is a single grain, which I haven't found in anywhere other than Hay Club over by me.
Interesting question. A little bit further ahead, Levi Scott asked, "How many good scotches do you think there are that we have never heard of purely for the reason that they are not exported?" I wouldn't think too many. I mean, this one here, Royal Lochnagar, I don't think any of us had heard of it. At least when I found it lurking in the cellar, I had never heard of it. But I'm fairly new to Scotch and whiskey in general, like only maybe 7-8 months, so I had never heard of it. But I would assume that there's at least, a handful to like maybe upwards of 10 or 15 that in North America we haven't heard of, just because they're smaller. Like how think of it like there must be some sort of V Whites like Austin distilleries in Scotland that are smaller, that don't export as much, that I'm sure exist, and just they're not big enough to export internationally.
Well, I have this one. I have this one here, and I'm told.
Oh yeah.
I'm told that this distillery has 3 employees.
Ball and chin.
Well, it's
the left.
Ball and chin. I think there's a reason why it's not very popular.
Yeah, no, it's Ralphie's episode today was he was talking about Ballychan whiskeys, because that's from Edradour Distillery.
Exactly.
Highland Distillery, I think. Which
and that's like a heavily peated one, and it's
they're heavily peated line. So like Berglatic and Port Charlotte.
Right.
Port Charlotte.
I don't like it very much at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Ralphie today was saying that some of them are sort of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of them, he said, tasted like really fruity gasoline. Like he's not sure. He's like, I sort of like it, but I'm not sure if people should be drinking gasoline. So, yeah, like what I think is that I'm not sure there are actually small craft distilleries that are legal in Scotland. I know that there's a shift towards urban distilleries. There are a bunch of distilleries that are opening up, like in downtown Glasgow and downtown Edinburgh right now. Now they're opening a Holyrood distillery in the middle of Edinburgh. What I do think is that there are distillery exclusive whiskeys and a couple Europe exclusive whiskeys that we're just never going to get to try.
Travel stuff too, right? Yeah.
Because there's like I was in Scotland last June, and I brought back some Talisker Port Ree for my roommate, and that's port finished Talisker, and we tried it, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
And that's an EU whiskey. It just doesn't ever come to. I think you can order it on Master of Malt, but it's not sold in stores. Yeah, right. So, and like, yeah, I was looking at. I had some friends on the same trip as I was a couple weeks ago, and they were going to be in Tobermory. So I was looking at Tobermory distillery and looking at some of their distillery exclusives. And they have like 19-year-old like Amontillado sherry finished Lecheik, which sounds amazing. But none of us are ever going to get to try that unless we go to the distillery. So, so I think there's, and that's why I think it's, that's why I'm grateful for this whiskey swapping community that I've discovered, or that I've stumbled upon. I mean, it's existed for years already, and so yeah, you get to swap some of your rare whiskeys for somebody else's rare whiskeys, and you get to see a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, I think there's, yeah, especially those sorts of distillery exclusive, likewise somebody from the UK is probably never going to get to try that Balcones French Oak.
We can't even have it in Canada.
You know what?
Right?
That's a better idea than what I have in front of me right now.
Really? I'm glad I brought it up.
Because this bad boy is 64.6%.
That's a spicy meatball.
Yeah, and 100% blue corn. It's all corn whiskey.
Weird.
Ugh. Might be a bit much.
Yes, Scotch and soda. It was the Edredar 12 Caledonia that Ralphie was talking about today.
Does anyone here, besides me, obsessed about Game of Thrones?
Yes, absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
How does everyone feel about all the distilleries doing a release for all the houses?
You know,
I think it's hilarious.
But I'm gonna have to get those, I think.
Yeah. We were talking. We had that small little mention there, Josh, yesterday, saying that normally you wouldn't, but I think you'll have to make an exception, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's an absurd marketing gimmick, and I need them.
Yep. I need that Talisker, and I need that Lagavulin 9-year-old. 100% need that.
I'm a guy who doesn't watch TV. I absolutely watch no TV. I think anything that is going to bring new people into the whiskey culture in any kind of positive way is badass. So if you want to use Game of Thrones or whatever, if you're gonna bring that positivity within the culture and let people know that it's about the community, not all the negative stuff that you hear about whiskey. So I'm all down for it. It's fun and shenanigans in the whiskey world from professionals.
As long as the whiskey is good, I'm cool with anything like that.
It's not. I mean, think about how many times you've had fun just talking shit about crappy whiskeys like Canadian Mist or Hank Club.
True.
Yeah.
That's
You
true.
know, so it's all about just the fun, having a great time with what you got with the people around you.
It would be kind of hilarious if like one of them was just completely horrible.
Yeah.
That would
Whiskey just tastes awful.
Yeah.
So what's funny? Now that you said that, Brad, I was going through the all of the like the labels and everything.
Right.
I haven't seen those.
Yeah, I'll send you the picture.
Please.
The House Baratheon Scotch is Royal Lochnagar 12-year Highland Scotch.
Hey.
So there you go.
All right.
It looks like it's this exact bottle, just House Baratheon.
It has been.
That's funny.
That's it. I'm just going strictly by the label. 40%, 12-year-old. It doesn't look like there's anything else involved with it. If it's just a label change, that's a bit of a shame. But everything else, like the Talisker, Reserve, the Lagavulin 9-year-old, Oban Bay Reserve.
Yeah, like some of them are just rebranded.
Yeah,
regular whiskey,
I think the Cardew, the Royal Lochnagar, the Clenlish, and the Dalwhinnie are just relabeled.
Yeah. I'd be excited to try that 9-year-old Lagavulin, as well as the Johnny Walker White Walker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, like I'm ashamed it took him this long to do that pun. Releasing associated whiskey.
Just took 8 years.
Yeah, these bottles look like brown glass bottles, but that's just the color of the whiskey.
That's awesome. That's a great color.
Right? Woo. Probably should have put it through a coffee filter or something. There were bits of barrel floating. That's okay.
Wade,
Okay.
Connor, basically all the companies releasing Diageo. No, not all of them, Wade. I'll tell you. I'll write Cardew, Royal Lochnagar, Clenleash, Talisker, Dalwhinnie, Singleton, Lagavulin, and Oban are the official ones. I don't know if they're doing other ones, but from what I saw the release, it was those 8. I could be wrong, but that's what I saw the release.
All right, I need more whiskey.
All right, go for it. Goodbye. Good night, Christina.
All right. So while
Christina.
Brad gets his whiskey, I'm gonna say good night. I've had a blast with you guys. I can't wait to see what happens next and join in on the next.
Cheers. We'll do this again.
Cheers.
Yes.
Absolutely, guys. You guys have a great night. Continuing everything.
Cheers to the whiskey mariachi.
Or Nika from the barrel.
Nika.
Nika.
All right.
Yeah. How's that French oak?
That's
Dark.
yeah. It's fantastic. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
It's if you haven't had the regular single malt, it's kind of hard to describe, right? So it's like it's got everything what the regular single malt has, but with more dark fruit and if you don't like woody barrel notes in your whiskey, you're probably not going to like it.
Okay.
I happen to like that kind of thing. It's pretty dark and rich and heavy. It's intense. It's not subtle at all, right? There's nothing delicate in here, but a lot of dark fruits and like cherry. Yeah, it's fantastic stuff. I wish they'd come out with it more often, but from what I understand, these French oak barrels are like $800 a piece.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. Like I was thinking about that, like Glendalough Japanese oak finish. I can't imagine how expensive those barrels.
Oh man, I wonder what is Japanese oak impart? Right?
I got no idea, but I assume it's a different grain structure or whatever.
It's whiter.
I have no idea. I won't pretend to say anything intelligent here.
Oh, Patron needs that wood.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I have one more bottle. I'm going to save it for when you guys come down.
Oh my goodness. All right. Upset that I'm not going to be there. Instead, I'm going to be in the woods hitting rocks with sledgehammers and listening to them. So that's
I mean, that sounds fun too.
Oh yeah, it'll be a blast. And I'll be in Deep River, so just northwest of Ottawa. Yeah, it'll be fun. I have I think I have 2 credits I need left to graduate, and that's one of them. But I'm probably going to take it slow and just do the extra year, because turns out there are a lot of courses that could be useful for getting a job. But yeah, unfortunately, the first day of that course is the day of the launch party. So I can't even watch the stream. I'll just have to either bite the bullet and burn through my phone's data, which is a possibility, or I'll just be sad. I'll probably just be sad, but it's okay.
I'm really curious to how that's going to be set up on the campus there. I mean, they say they're going to live stream.
Yeah, it's gonna be chaos. I don't know how they're even gonna fit that many people. It's gonna be crazy.
Exactly. There's just not that much space. I think
I'm just gonna hide in my room the whole time. Force people to come to me.
Yeah.
You're gonna be the Godfather, Brad. You're gonna just be in a
That's right.
dark room. People are gonna come and kiss your hand.
Right?
I'm gonna be in a room with AC, full of whiskey. People will come to me.
They're gonna bring you offerings of Ardbeg.
There you go.
People will be begging to get in there.
Accept this, Master Demigod. This offering of peat and malted barley.
It's just gonna be utter chaos, but it'll be fun.
Yeah.
So, Josh, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any tattoos currently?
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Did Gretchen just get her first one or
Second.
Oh, okay.
So she had that one.
Oh, let's look at that. Oh,
You kind of.
There you go.
Let's get this out of the way. All right. So those are orchids.
Oh, I like it.
Nice.
beautiful.
Right. And then she got that one in Santa Fe. So she got it. She went in and got this done, right?
Without you knowing?
Huh?
Did she sneak it in, or did you know?
She kind of made up her mind finally on the fly and decided now's the time. So we went in there and she got hers done. I couldn't quite decide what I wanted to do, so half a block away was a brewery. So we went down there, drank 2 beers. I made a decision, went back to the tattoo shop, and they said, "Oh, these 3 ladies just walked in here a few minutes ago. Let me give you a call and see if we can fit you in." And it didn't happen. So I've reached out to a tattoo artist locally that's been recommended to us. So we'll see how that goes.
Did you decide if you're going to do the Ardbeg or?
Yeah, I think so. On a barrel head.
Okay.
I think so.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get one too.
What
Big tramp stamp.
Tramp stamp.
Jeez.
You know, people are so helpful when you come and ask for this kind of advice.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I was
no,
following
no
all
doubt.
those comments.
Yeah.
Some of them were gold.
Yeah, get it tattooed on your ass. Tramp stamp. Do it on your forehead. Yeah.
But then you can't poop if you get it on your ass.
Yeah, I mean, how does one? I mean, there's a healing time period with a tattoo. I mean,
Yeah.
get it on your ass. How does that work?
Just makes everything, painful.
Yeah. The healing process for that would be long and painful. Like just for a compare, like it's not a direct comparison, but I have
Oh, nice.
this part right in the middle of my
Ooh.
my elbow, with the inside of my elbow. All this here, because of the bending and everything, that was worse than the elbow part, because the skin folds in on itself and it wasn't healing properly. It took about 3 times longer for that to heal than anywhere else in my body. So, and I would assume that tush tattoos don't exactly take a week or 2. They take a lot longer.
I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, the other possibility, I wanted something that didn't scream. If you didn't know what you were looking at, it wouldn't just say, "This is a whiskey tattoo," right?
Yeah, like I completely agree with that outlook, because if you were to look at my chest and my arm, you would never assume that it's pretty much 80% anime inspired.
Yeah.
People are just like, "Oh, that's just a really cool tattoo. Like what does it mean?" And I was like, "Oh, well, this is an anime. That's an anime. That's an anime." Like, it's all from animes, but you'd never be able to tell unless you were really involved with animes to spot out the differences. So
Right.
I really, when I think of getting a tattoo, I think of like how discreet, bigger tattoos. How discreet can I make it while still it being meaningful to me and what I want it to represent, and blah 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 blah.
Right.
All about the subtle references.
With what you want to do, and in my head, as soon as you said put it on a like a barrel head, the first thing that popped into my head was the back of the calf, and just do all barrel heads going up your calf.
Yeah.
It has almost like a big shelf, like a distillery shelf,
Right.
and each barrel has a different distillery that you love. That would be something that, like, that's the first thing that popped into my head as something that I would do for that particular sort of a theme or topic, like tattoo topic. That's the first thing that I would have gone to my artist with and just pose it to her, how feasible is this? Will it look good? How will it age? And blah blah blah, and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should get teardrops for every whiskey that I've slain.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez.
One tear is one
Face
bottle of Canadian
just
whiskey.
covered in teardrops.
So between the Ardbeg A and then the Balcones kind of triangle thing, this guy.
Yeah.
Which would you choose?
And I want it, this.
Yeah, Gretchen thinks right here.
Because the tattoo artist said that what hands do we hold when we walk? And that would be the one I just got tattooed on.
Yeah.
When we touch each other.
So what would be your choice between the two?
I think the Ardbeg A just looks nicer aesthetically. I mean, I'm not at all a tattoo person, so I mean, take my opinion with a grain of salt. But I just think it's a nicer looking symbol. If you want to go for subtlety, like I'd say the Balcones is obviously less recognizable and more an abstract thing.
Right.
But I mean, just having a big fat A right there, it's all scripted and nice. I could see it.
It's one of those. I mean, it's been around since 1800s, right? So
what's popping into my head is incorporating the A in the center of like a Gaelic ornamental circle. What are those things called?
The Celtic knot.
Yeah, like doing something like that in the middle, and then having the artist kind of tie all the outside ornamental pieces into the knotting.
Yeah.
To not hide it, but tie it into something a bit bigger than just the A. If you don't want to do the barrel head thing.
Yeah, because the barrel head is leaning towards a little more obvious, right? But,
yeah.
No, those are great ideas.
Tell your story.
Wade thinks I should get the Pappy Van Winkle bottle on my ass. That way nobody's going to see it just like the real thing.
Perfect.
This Loch Nagar is getting stronger in the nose the more I let it sit.
Interesting.
But it's not really changing on the palate very much, but it's definitely getting really full. I'm getting a lot more sherry in the nose. More, almost like the Glendronach 12 now that I'm letting it sit. But just nothing's changing taste-wise.
This is all I can think when we were describing that.
No regrets. That's right. Yeah, Terry Dolan is asking Josh what that Rex's face wasn't a consideration for your new tattoo.
Yeah, Terry, how do you know I don't have Rex's face tattooed on me already?
Oh, that's the real question.
Yeah.
On his ass.
Yeah.
Of course. Where else? Right?
Listen, I don't want to get banned from YouTube, so you can't show that tattoo.
Show of hands. Who wants to see Rex's tattoo on my ass?
I don't know. I gotta be responsible here and look at
if I'm being honest, even if it got me banned from YouTube, I would still find that hilarious.
I want to raise my hand so badly, but it's YouTube, so it's like, you know what? Let's keep the stream going. I like these things. Let's not ruin it for her.
Okay, we got a hard no. Okay, yeah.
Next time I'm down in Austin, how about that?
yeah. You guys will get a private viewing.
I don't know if that sounds better or not.
Very good.
This Nika from the barrel is pretty good, though, I must say. It's the first time I've tried it.
Oh, I've never had that.
I'm so excited to come over and try it.
Yeah, very, very caramel, toffee, little bit of fruit in the background there. I can't tell what kind of fruit at this point, but back there.
Before I forget, Adam.
Yeah.
Can you send me a link to did you buy your sample things on Amazon?
Yes, I did.
Can you send me a link to the ones that you use? Because I like the ones that you have, and I want to get them.
I absolutely can. Give me a second here.
Cool. They don't have to do it right now. Just at some point. I just didn't want to forget.
What size are those bottles?
They are 60 mils. I have an empty one here. There they are. They have these polycone caps, so they're relatively leak-proof.
I got something similar, but
Yeah, I got the slightly skinnier ones, I think.
Yeah. Eek, that was loud.
Brad, yours look like little mini whiskey bottles.
They do. They do. They're just little itty bitty mini ones. But yeah, same kind of one time actually sealing caps that once you open them again, it cracks open. It's pretty good. I'll be bringing a bunch of surprises in them to the distillery opening to pass out to people.
Oh my goodness.
nah.
You're just making me feel bad that I'm not going to be there.
Well, I'll save some for whenever you make it over here too. So,
I know.
It's all good.
Yeah. There's a rock and mineral festival. There's a giant rock and mineral festival in Bancroft in a couple of weeks. So I may be in the area at that time.
Well, there you go. If you have a chance, just let me know. Come on down.
Will do. Will do.
What is the LCBO thing? Is that's like a state-controlled store?
Yep. It's a provincial government-run monopoly. The LCBO is the Liquor Control Board of Ontario.
Okay.
They do a good job of making it a nice-looking store, and
They make it. They make it really good for local craft. Anything. So craft wine, whiskey, spirits, beers. They make it really good because they can allocate more space to everything local.
Mm.
Yeah.
So for that,
they're especially good for Ontario wines.
Yeah. For that purpose, the LCBO is great because they make sure that even the little guys, in the province get their shelf time. What it's bad at is that takes away space for other things, and because it's provincially run, and pretty much it's taxed. The tax rates are through the roof because obviously government.
Right.
Anything that you want is going to be taxed to shit. So just for I guess slight comparison, what would a bottle of Lefroy 10 go for where you are, Josh?
Anywhere, but probably around $45.
So up here it's about 85 to 90.
Wow.
Canadian. Now that's closer to 70 US.
Right.
Yeah.
The craziest one I can come up with is Ardbeg Ugadal. So what's a bottle of Ugadal go for in Austin?
I just bought that recently. I think about 75.
Ooh.
So in Ontario, Canada, the LCBO, Ardbeg Ugadal is $176.
Oh.
Yeah, it's atrocious. It's atrociously bad.
It's harsh.
Exchange rate, that's like what, 130? Yeah, it's really, really horrible.
That's a better one.
Oh man.
Yeah, there are some that are anomalously cheap, like Classic Laddie, for example, is only $70.
Okay.
Or like Black Art was like $320.
Really?
Canadian. So
yeah, that's usually like 400.
Yeah.
What I see it for the time.
That was a weird.
When you get to the really high end, the LCBO is actually not bad. Like Macallan M, I think the price for Macallan M, because I've seen
or something,
one of the nicer LCBOs, is like what, $6.5 grand?
Yeah, something like that.
And so that's like down to $4,500.
They make their money with like the medium to intermediate price point stuff. Sure. And then once it passes a certain point where they know that they're not going to get very many people that buy it, they just let it be. But the stuff that flies, they'll jack it. So 4 months ago, Kalila 12 was $61, $62.
Really?
Yeah, sold through. It disappeared from the shelves. Came back about 2 months later. I think now it's like $84, $85, something crazy. Yeah, they saw that there was a demand. They popped it up, and they're raking it in.
Yeah. Yeah. So like fucking monkey shoulder up here is $65.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that makes you have to turn to alternate budget whiskeys, and of course Jeff and I were saying today that my pick is this Deanston Virgin Oak.
Yeah, I dig that, man. It's good stuff.
Yeah, because the other stuff that you get in that price bracket is like Highland Park Magnus, Glenlivet Founders Reserve.
Ugh.
I had a list open. I think I've closed it.
I haven't had a Glenlivet.
Ardmore Legacy. Yeah, I remember I tried the first Phil Nadura, and it was awful. Like really sour, sour crab apples. It was bizarre. It was really bizarre.
Strange. I haven't had that one.
Now on the flip side, I've had the Glenlivet 18 and really enjoyed it. Granted, that was almost a year ago, and my palate's almost completely changed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't really know what to say so much. But yeah, Glenlivet is, And then I had some French oak they were doing a free sample, and it was just really boring, more than anything.
Should I open that bottle of that Highland Park 12 beer, or should I wait? Brad, I'm just gonna listen.
What are you doing?
Yeah. Okay.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know what kind of answer you were expecting,
Give me a sec.
All right. Yeah, the great thing about this
kind of a crazy question is, should I open it? Yes. Whatever it is.
The great thing about this Springbank is that it works well in really, really small amounts, because I've probably drank half of what I poured myself, and like I could have gone to a different whiskey ages ago, but it's so intensely flavored that you gotta stick with it. Yeah, I'll definitely bring some of that up to you, Brad, when I head over.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to read the label to you guys.
Please.
Okay. Let me just situate myself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Chris Kirby in the chat is also saying, "Open it up."
All right. So for everyone in the chat that didn't see the before, I was doing a little bit of adventuring today, and I found ale matured in Highland Park 12 whiskey casks. That's the label for everybody. I don't know if is it reversed for everybody?
Nope.
No, it's right.
Okay, perfect.
I think we see ourselves in reverse, but the actual broadcast is right.
Okay.
It should be the right way in the broadcast.
So there you go. In the little leaflet that it comes with, Ola Dub, which is what it's called, or black oil, is so named because it is gloopy and viscous. Gloopy and viscous. This limited release has been matured in casks from Orkney's award-winning Highland Park distillery to add complementary whiskey notes to what is already an amazing brew. It is chocolatey with a roasty, bitter-sweet aftertaste.
There you go. I want to answer two of Scotch and Soda's questions.
Go for it.
Asked, first of all, how are Ontario wines? He asked because he's from California. Below par compared to other world regions.
I find the opposite. There's some hidden gems in there.
There are some nice ones, but I don't know. I'm a sucker for Italian wines personally, but and he also asked if anyone had tried Bruichladdach's gin. I haven't, but I've tried that Isle of Harris gin, and it's awesome.
I would love to try the Bruichladdach gin.
Yeah.
I'm super curious to try. I'm not really a gin person, but I would definitely try. I haven't had anything yet from Bruichladdach that I've not liked. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Octomore. The bottom.
How is it?
It's quite good. I mean, I like gin a little bit, but this is probably one of the better ones I've ever had.
Nice.
Yeah.
This ale is so thick.
Let's see.
Like just pouring it out.
Whoa. What's the ABV on that?
I mean, just it's. I don't taste. I don't smell any. Oh, I get a little bit in the taste. That's kind of cool. It's like it tastes like a coffee stout, and you just put like a shot of like a half shot of whiskey in the pint.
Cool.
Interesting.
Right on.
But it's an ale. It's not a stout, but it's thick like a stout.
You call it an Orkney Carbone.
Mm-hmm. I can dig this.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's thick like a stout, but it's not. You know when you have stout, if you drink stout, you get that like creamy heaviness as you're drinking it. You're like, this is filling me up.
Yeah.
Right away, you notice it. This one's beer on that beer, more that beer ale side. So it's not that heavy like mealness, but it's definitely good. This is I can dig this. I can get around this.
Cool.
Is it very high ABV?
8%.
Okay.
Now the one I had earlier was 12%. Let me get the picture because I drank it and I didn't save the bottle because it was at a friend's house. That was so remember I was showing you that Nickelbrook Kentucky Bastard stout. So the other one I bought was from Nickelbrook as well. It's called Cafe del Bastardo. And it's an imperial stout. No, that's the wrong one. The culmination of our friendship with Detour Coffee and our love of barrel-aged imperial stout, an infusion of whole coffee beans into our Kentucky Bastard barrels, brings a new member to our Bastard family. Intensely aromatic beer displays bright coffee, bourbon, vanilla, and malty chocolate coffee notes, followed by warming alcohol. And that was that 12%, and that was really good. I definitely pick up another couple of bottles of that. And for anyone interested, I did take pictures of the labels, so I'll watch for my post later on the tribe group if you're interested in trying to see if you can find them.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I don't really drink beer, but that sounds tasty.
Yeah, they're, like I said, this one here is really good. But the one from before, the stout, I love stouts, was really, really good. But it's a meal. Like I was drinking it, and I drank the whole bottle. It was an extra big bottle.
All right, see you later, Terry.
Yeah, good night, Terry.
Terry.
Thanks for moderating our stream.
Yeah, it was 500 milliliters, but by the end of it, I was like, I can't eat anything.
Have you guys had the? I don't know if it makes its way to Canada, but there's a beer that people go crazy for around here sometimes. That's made by Goose Island.
We get Goose Island.
Yeah, we do get Goose Island.
The Bourbon County Stout.
I don't recall.
Let me see if it's at the LCBO. I'll just have the window open.
Bourbon
No
County.
idea. Like I said, not a beer drinker. So
Yeah, I used to be a big beer drinker, like for years and years, and since getting into whiskey, it just I don't know, it agrees with me so much more. But that Bourbon County Stout isn't really to my preference. It kind of has this cough syrup thing going on. It's very sweet and sticky and thick.
14% ABV.
Yeah.
When was this? This was last November. It did make its way up to Toronto last fall. I'm not too sure if it's still in the LCBO though.
I didn't see it when I looked it up just now. I saw a whole bunch of other Goose Islands.
Okay, here it is, guys. A limited amount will go on sale at the LCBO pop-up shop, 600 King, starting at 9:30, 25 a bottle.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, 25 a bottle. Oh boy. Jeez, yeah.
That pop-up shop is no longer there.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just have to wait. Most likely, because it looks like this year's pretty much done. But I have 2 trips to Pittsburgh in the fall for more than a couple of days. So I'll probably be bringing up some stuff that I find down there because I'll have some allotment to bring back. So I'm gonna keep my eyes open for that and bring some back for you guys, Adam and Brad.
Sick.
Nice.
We can try it out.
Yeah, it's an interesting beer. It's just I can't drink more than one. It's one of the.
Oh yeah, no. With most stouts, I find that except for Guinness. For Guinness, I can drink all day.
Right.
Craft stouts, good luck. Like it's like one and done.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this past St. Patrick's Day. I was in Ottawa, Brad, and I must have gone through at least a dozen Guinnesses and a bunch of Jameson throughout the day. And at the end of the day, I still had room. I don't know where it went. The Guinness was just going into my body and disappearing. But yeah, with like the finer, like the good stuff, Josh, it sits at the bottom of your stomach and doesn't go away.
Guinness was I think my very first entry point into any sort of high-end alcoholic beverage.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Guinness and I guess Blue Moon. Blue Moon was the popular crafty beer, right? But
yeah, we have Blue Moon up here too.
Yeah.
Oh no, Belgian Moon. No, I'm thinking of Belgian Moon. Sorry.
Okay.
Also,
I have this horrible habit of serving Blue Moon with a slice of orange on the side.
yeah.
You know what? It's probably the same as Belgian Moon if you're serving it with orange.
Yeah, it might be. It's like
like a wheat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I like wheat beers, but I'm a sucker for like Hefeweizens, like Munich.
Oh yeah.
Anything out of Munich. Oh God, I love this. This something different about that. About the beer brewed there. It's great.
Yep. There's an Hefeweizen brewed in Austin actually that's rated really highly alongside the European ones from a brewery called Live Oak. The Live Oak Hefeweizens, especially when it's hot outside. You have that just light citrusy banana clove. Yeah, fantastic beer.
Well, I don't know about all that, but I need more whiskey.
That's a good point.
I think you have enough bottles there to keep you busy for a while, Brad.
Yeah, probably.
What's your next choice, Brad?
I think it might be time to finally open the Talisker 25 that I got the other day. To celebrate the fact that I started my new job today.
Yeah.
Oh yeah! Congratulations.
Thanks.
I like that.
I don't have a Talisker 25, but I will pour some Talisker 18 with you.
Nice.
I don't have any Talisker, so I'm going to continue with my Spring Bank.
No Talisker.
What?
When you come here, I've got plenty.
Excellent.
I think I'm gonna crack open my Dark Storm just to have a little bit.
Oh, that's a tease.
Oh, somebody said
my 25 will have to do.
Somebody said with the Blue Moon question, it is the same thing. They use Blue Moon in Canada because that is a Molson product.
Oh, there you go. Thanks.
This Dark Storm is just good.
Yeah,
yeah, the Dark Storm is excellent.
Yeah, I was sad I didn't get a chance to try that when I was at your place, Vito.
Adam, it's not the last time you'll be invited over. So
I can't imagine.
It is something. It's just great on the nose. This is one of my favorites now. It's just turned into something great.
Yeah.
What is that? So I see Storm a lot in stores around here, but I never see the Dark Storm.
The Dark Storm's duty exclusive.
Okay.
So it's the 1 liter bottle. It's essentially the Storm, just extra charred barrels.
Okay.
I haven't had the regular Storm yet, but the Dark Storm is just good, just really good.
Whoa, I'm getting.
As Brad would say, oh, it's real good.
It's real good.
It's
Real good.
I gotta say this ain't too bad either.
I'm getting all sorts of licorice on the finish of this Springbank now. I've never gotten that
Interesting.
before.
How long have you left that sit?
Oh, like half an hour.
Yeah.
But I mean, it started at like, well, I added some water to it, but it kind of started at less than like 53, 54%. So, yeah, it's good. It's probably the briniest whiskey I have. So it's it's comparable to the Taliskers.
Mm.
But yeah, you were talking about the Storm. I prefer the Storm to the 10, actually.
I do too. Yeah.
I've heard both opinions, where some people like the 10, some people like the Storm.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah, I
just
did them
personal
side by
taste,
side.
but it's definitely not bad at all. It is good. It's good stuff, even though it's a non-age statement, all that stuff people complain about. But.
Yeah, it's always nice to see a non-age statement really hold its own against a serious single malt.
For sure.
I don't like the not the stereotype. That's the wrong word. Just like the little bit of hate given to no age statement whiskeys.
Yeah,
I think it's to generalize everything with saying that no age statements are inferior is just real silly.
because it's just marketing, right? They could put an age statement on something.
They could,
but you look at like the Macallan editions, right? Because I was talking to I was at a brand ambassador tasting with the Eastern Canada Macallan guy, and he was saying, yeah, the editions are like 12, 13 years old. So okay, like that'd be totally respectable age statement to have on whiskey. It's not like they're bottling 6-year-old whiskey and selling it for $150.
Right.
But like when you're trying to charge what you want to charge for it, you can't put 12 on the label because people will say, what the hell, Highland Park 12's $60.
Right.
So that's the issue with most of it, I think. And then there are, like Glenlivet Founders Reserve, where they're just trying to sell young whiskey instead of the 12.
Right.
But yeah, no, most of them are solid, right? Most of them are solid.
Like as a fan of Ardbeg, like almost all of their stuff is non-age statement, until you get to the really old, crazy priced stuff.
Exactly.
Right back.
If it tastes good, it is good.
Exactly. Yeah.
And not everything has to be refined or incredibly complex or anything like that to be enjoyable, right?
Oh yeah. Sometimes it just has to be damn good.
We're allowed to like some Canadian mist every now and then.
Just to keep you grounded, right? Keep you humble.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm trying to think what the equivalent would be down here. Maybe
Hay Club. No, James told me about something down there that's the equivalent. Gosh, I forgot now.
That's Texas specific or just to America?
Well, I'm not too sure if it's Vegas specific. I don't think it would be though, just because of the laws in Nevada.
Is it like Ancient Age?
No, you know what? Let me scour my thing. But go ahead, Josh. I'm sorry I interrupted. Which one?
I was trying to think of Texas whiskey specifically. That would be. I don't know. I really am not a fan of the TX blended.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Firestone Robertson. Although I've been to an awful lot of the distilleries around Texas, and that by orders of magnitude has a much larger facility, a much nicer tasting room. There are millions and millions of dollars into this thing. Yet it's the most boring whiskey I think that Texas produces.
Interesting.
Yeah. But it's the most has the widest appeal, I guess.
Yeah, I've driven past the 40 Creek Distillery a bunch of times because it's like 40 minutes from here, and it's basically just a giant factory. Like there's nothing aesthetic about it. Yeah, I need to go to the Dillon's Distillery because that's also about an hour from here.
Okay, so sorry guys. I found the part of the chat.
Yeah.
So I was teasing him. I said maybe I'll bring you a skid of Canadian Mist. Whatever. He's like, at least make it Old Crow.
Old Crow, yeah.
And then he asked me which is worse, Black Velvet or Mist. I don't know what Black Velvet
Mist.
was.
Mist is worse. Mist is worse, definitely. Black Velvet is horrible, but Mist is worse.
Yeah, that's what he was talking. The Black Velvet and Old Crow.
Sure. Yeah, Old Crow is one of those. The bottle's plastic, and I mean, same as Canadian Mists, and yeah, it's not great.
Yeah. How's that Talisker 18 treating you? I haven't had the 18 yet.
I really, really like it. I was a big fan of the 10. That was one of the first, when I first started getting into whiskey more than casually. That was one of the first bottles I picked up was the 10. And this still retains some of that youthful character and a little bit of the spikiness of the 10 and the saltiness and, all of that stuff that you hear on the regular Talisker, but it kind of rounds all that stuff out, adds some richness and complexity, but that youthfulness is still there under the surface.
It's nice. It's nice when the rougher whiskeys, especially the islands and the islas, when they get into that 16, using the 16 as sort of a baseline because of the Lagavulin 16, but I'm sure it happens probably a bit earlier on the 13, 14-year range, but once it hits that 16 and it's everything, all that aggressiveness mellows out and gets like a nice pocket.
Right.
Into your mouth.
Yeah, I had the privilege to try some 27-year-old Lafroig a couple months ago.
Oh boy.
That my man Andrew brought over. As when he was picking up his whiskey from the big order we did, and totally unnecessary gesture of thanks. He brought his Lafroig 27, and this is old Lafroig that they don't want to risk dropping below 40%, so they bottle it at a weird year and give it a weird age statement. So it was bottled at cask strength at 42%.
Ooh,
which is a shame.
That's.
But so yeah, it's the barrels that are on there that are in danger of dropping below that. So, but it was delicious. I mean, all the texture was there. It was almost a Highland whiskey, but it was more similar to Kalila than anything, in the lightness and sort of grassiness. But then underneath, you have the Band-Aid sort of thing, and you have the heavy peat does show itself, but yeah, and that's probably gone a fair bit past that pocket that you're talking about, Leo. But yeah, that was sublime. That's the only really older island that I've experienced. I've been meaning to get my hands somehow on those like unpeated Kalilas, like the 18-year-old.
Yeah,
that would be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen those around town. Thought about picking them up. They're a little expensive though.
Yeah. Yeah, super expensive. We get some of them here, I think. Yeah, I think I've seen the unpeated Kalila here.
I think it's made its way, but it's in like small little orders, like small shipments.
Yeah.
I was recently, like, just by chance, one of the guys that's in the tribe that lives here in Austin, we met up for a happy hour and drank some whiskeys and stuff, and he brought me a little sample of the Lagavulin 8. I already had the Lagavulin 16 at home.
Yeah.
And while I was on vacation, I picked up the 12 as well.
Ooh.
The 12 is good.
Yeah, it's real good.
It's real good.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to go pull it off the shelf now.
Right here. Yeah, I was very impressed with it. I didn't open it until the last day before we left, but that's some good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, I'm really excited. I keep on bringing this up in every chat, live stream, but I'm so excited to get my hands on the bottle that James got me, the 2017 version of the 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm real excited for that. That's gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's gonna be fun bringing it over the border too.
Bring
The
it over
last,
here and we'll do some comparisons with the 2016 version.
oh, for sure, we're gonna be doing that. Don't worry. I'm not sure if you saw, Josh. So I got a couple of bottles of Angel's Envy. I went over to Buffalo for a day,
Okay.
and
The bourbon.
the bourbon, yeah, the port finish bourbon,
Yeah.
and I tried to sneak it over, and ended up having to pay the duties for the 2 bottles that I bought. Whatever, it's fine. But at the counter, as I was sorting everything out with the officers, they said, so that this is going to stay on your file for a while, right? I was like, oh, I didn't know that, but I guess now I haven't, this, it is what it is. So now I'm just going to be fun every time I travel over the border. I'm just going to get freaking harassed. What are you bringing over? They're not going to believe me, this and that. And I was like, oh boy, it's going to be a hassle for a good couple of years now.
I go to Canada pretty often. I used to live in Michigan.
Okay.
So then you go to Toronto and is it Sarnia?
Sarnia's well north of us, but yeah, Sarnia's there.
Right.
Oh no, sorry. I don't know why I was thinking of too much whiskey. I was thinking of Sudbury.
No. Yeah.
Sarnia is between us and Michigan, essentially.
Yeah. Crossing the border was always funny, but it seemed like the Canadian side was always so much nicer than the American side.
It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
It often
I don't know what it is.
Officer to officer, it can be different, but
Yeah,
definitely often is easier on the Canadian side.
This last time I went over was the complete opposite of everything I've experienced at the border. The American side was the nicer. Like, I sparked up a conversation with the border agent, like going over, and he was like laughing. He's like, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah." But then coming back, the lady on the Canadian side was just stone cold, just
right,
not having anything. She hated her life. It is what it is. But yeah, the majority of the time it's usually the opposite. But the one time I go over for, a little bit of a pleasure trip, I get dinged, but whatever.
Yeah.
Have you had the rye at all?
No, I haven't. I can only risk so much in a year.
Sure. Yeah.
But next, when hopefully, I've never. So I go to Pittsburgh at least twice a year for Steelers games. But like, this is the first year I'll be going where if I go to a bar, I may look at like the Scotch or the whiskey selection.
Sure.
So I'm not too sure what the situation is like in Pittsburgh in terms of availability, but I know that I think Pennsylvania is one of the dry states.
Yeah, Pennsylvania's got a state-controlled.
Yeah,
Pennsylvania has an LCBO kind of situation.
Okay, so it shouldn't be too bad, but
what I found out, you can actually, with the Pennsylvania, whatever the hell the Pennsylvania Liquor Board is called, you can go to their website and order bottles to go to a store, unlike the LCBO.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
So you could go and pick it up. Because that's how I got the bottle of 23. Somebody ordered it to a particular store and then didn't bother to come pick it up and pay for it.
Huh.
Yeah, so I'm hoping when I'm in Pittsburgh next that to try some interesting stuff that I might not get to try in Vegas when I go in a couple of weeks. So I'll you've obviously had the rye. What's it like? Like, obviously, going back to our conversation before about ryes and all that stuff. How do you find the Angel's Envy rye?
The first time I ever tried it was at a restaurant here with. It's one of the guys that's in the tribe that doesn't engage a whole lot. You'll see him pop in every now and again. But we met up with him and his girlfriend, because he hated the Balcones rye, and it was right after it had come out, and I was just in love with it. Thought it was amazing. He posted something about how much he hated it, and I said, "Hey man, I'll buy you a bottle of something. let me take it off your hands if you hate it. I love it. Let me get you something that you do like, and we'll swap. So we met up at a restaurant, and he said, oh, look, I know I hated the Balcones rye, but you have to try this Angel's Envy rye. It tastes like molasses ginger snap cookies to me.
Ooh.
I can
Okay.
get behind that.
I like that description.
Yeah.
That's the first thing, you know what I mean? Like dark brown sugar, but also the bright ginger spice, you know, because it's rum cask finished.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Forget about that.
Right. So the bourbon they do in port, but then the rye gets in rum cask. I actually like it much better than the bourbon, but it's harder to find. It's kind of around town right now because, you know, they shipped out a bunch of it, but once it's gone, you won't be able to find it for months.
Yeah, I guess for them this distribution is still a little tricky, right?
Yeah.
They are small.
And I believe they're still sourced. They're just finishing.
Yeah, I think you're right there.
I think that's true.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
So, John, how far are you from the academy?
In traffic on a Friday afternoon, it takes me about 45 minutes.
Okay, from where I live to the downtown Toronto.
Yeah, there's construction and stuff on the way right now, so it's kind of rough. But if I were to just drive there right now when the roads are open, it might take me under 30.
Yeah. Okay. I can get behind that because like literally from where I am to downtown Toronto would take right now probably about 28-30 minutes.
Yeah.
But in the middle of traffic, an hour and 40. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you guys know how did I ever tell you the story of how I first went there?
Sure.
I think so, but yeah, I'd love to hear it from you.
I was at a friend's birthday party and drinking whiskey there, and somebody mentioned me, hey, have you heard of this Austin Whiskey Vault? Said, I've been drinking in this city for 10 plus years now. I have never heard of a whiskey vault. What in the world are you talking about? So he tells me about the YouTube channel, etc. And I get into it. I start watching it. I start buying more whiskey, etc. And Gretchen bought me a bourbon tasting class as an anniversary gift.
By the way, sorry, can we pause for 1 second? Is Gretchen still beside you?
No, she went to bed.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I was like,
she better not be sitting silent.
She was keeping quiet this whole time. I felt really bad. I feel really bad. It's like we could have had her like in the conversation.
Right. No, she's upstairs, but so she bought me a bourbon tasting class and as an anniversary gift, and she was emailing with Daniel, and normally this is kind of a group thing, like some folks come to do a business class, a marketing class at Wizard Academy, and they also do a Scotch tasting or a bourbon tasting. But I was registered as just one person. And she put me in touch with Daniel, and he said, hey man, if you can make it here on a Friday afternoon, normally this is a group deal, but we can just do it one-on-one, and you're a part of the group and everything, so let's do it. So that's how I first went out there. It was a super thoughtful anniversary gift.
Awesome.
That's pretty sweet, yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel does put on a very good tasting.
Yep, exactly. He was exhausted though that day. He said, I'm sorry if I'm not animated and doing the whole sommelier thing. Can we just hang out, drink some whiskey, and like no, that's perfect. That's
I was gonna say I'd rather have that. I'd rather have just like a super informal, just chill, shoot the shit.
Yeah.
Let's talk, as opposed to you're gonna do a job and I'm just gonna be that guy. I'm listening.
Yeah.
100%. I'd much more appreciate that than the latter. So yeah, that's awesome. That's cool. That's good on Gretchen. That's
yeah, for sure.
I think the most thoughtful gift I've ever gotten. I was speechless. So
awesome. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I guess real quick, since you kind of informally started that, um, I was introduced to the website, well, not the website, the YouTube page. I was doing research for a Kris Kringle that I had for work, in December of last year, I should say. And he's a big bourbon guy, so I was researching what bourbons I can buy, and I went onto YouTube to search up a specific review, and I forget which one it was, but the Whiskey Vault popped up, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, and it was it wasn't the advent calendars, it was one of the ones with Rex and Daniel.
Sure.
And being the kind of person that I am, which I should say, like, I'm a completionist. I like, if I see something in the middle of something, I stop and I go back to the beginning and I go through everything to lead up to that point.
Yeah, you don't half-ass anything, right?
Yeah, no, I have to.
You got a whole ass everything.
Yeah.
I don't have a Brad butt, but I have,
Hashtag Brad Butt. Hashtag Brad Butt.
Yikes.
but like, if you go through like a good portion of the video games that I play, they're all at 100%. Like, I have to get 100% of everything. So when I saw that there was a number attached to the video, I watched the video, and I went back and I watched everything. It took me a month and a bit to get through everything. At the time, it was just because I was watching it during work or in between stuff that I had going on. But I was just immediately just enthralled by what they had going on. And prior to the Whiskey Vault, I was sort of trying to find my way into whiskey. Adam and Brad know, I had gone to Scotland last March. I tried Talisker 10 in Skye. I asked for something local. They poured me a big pour of Talisker 10. I couldn't finish it. I could sense that there was something there, but I wasn't enjoying it. And I didn't find myself until after the vault and after I got introduced to Lefroy and whatnot. Lefroy 10 was my gateway whiskey where I was like, oh, I had this, and it was like, oh, it's amazing. But the vault really sort of brought everything around, like rounded everything out, that rounded the experience out and introduced me to everything. But it was just, I happened upon it really randomly. But I'm super glad that I did. Yeah, it was really cool.
Was Lefroy 10 your first truly proper whiskey? That, I mean, I'm sure you probably had others before, but
yeah,
where you were really focused on it.
Yeah. So, my most recent ex-girlfriend, her father would always pour me whiskey when I would go over. I never know what it was, and at the time, I didn't know how to drink. Well, I didn't know how to drink whiskey. I would just shoot it. I'd shoot it back because that's all I knew how to drink. That's how I knew it was like whiskey. Oh, I just shoot it. I didn't know, that there was more to it than that. So I'd hate it. I did it only to out of respect to her, like her father, right? So, then when I went to Scotland, we broke up and whatever, and then I went to Scotland and I went to Skye. I did it for I went there specifically for like the like nature and the cliffs and all that stuff. But while I was there, I was like, I'm here, I might as well try like a local whiskey. Like if so I had Talisker 10. That was my first, I know what I'm ordering. I'm ordering this, I'm going to taste this experience,
right?
Not just something randomly that I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
So that was my first taste into whiskey was the Talisker 10, which, being as briny and as peaty at the time that it was, I could taste things, but it wasn't something that I particularly enjoyed. But I knew there was something there, so I didn't really stop, but I left it very open. So I would try something here and there and whatnot, and nothing really grabbed me. But then Lefroy Lefroy Quarter Cask came around almost a year later and punched me in the jaw, slapped me in the ass and said, "Get back up, you're having some more." And that's where I went head first and was like, I'm in whiskey.
Yeah.
Nice.
So there was and then a year to the date of me ordering the Talisker 10, I went out and bought a bottle, had it again, and found that it's one of my favorites now. It's going to be a staple in the cabinet.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, my first really proper whiskey experience was a friend of mine here that years ago was Lefroy 10, and he poured it for me, and I can still remember. I remember everything about that moment vividly to this day. I mean, this is 8 years ago, maybe something like that, and the first thing that came out of my mouth after smelling and tasting it, as I said, that tastes like your clothes smell after sitting around a campfire.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Accurate, yeah, no, for sure.
You know, I think that makes me feel like I'm going to get a little bit of Garrison Brothers, I think.
Do it.
All right.
Do it up.
Yeah, that was the whiskey that really got me into whiskey. So,
if we're doing,
how about you, Adam? How did you get into whiskey?
My story is shockingly similar to Vito's, actually. So I was in Scotland last June for geology course. They actually they heavily subsidized the trip. I was very happy. And we were touring all over, and my prof's a whiskey guy, and we happened to be staying about, I don't know, 200 feet down the road from Talisker, which was incredible. And I had no experience at all with whiskey or really any hard liquor other than shooting tequila at my friends' house parties. So we went, we did the tour because he insisted everyone did the tour. And I remember walking up and just the smell of the place absolutely tantalizing me, because you could smell the barley being fermented, and it was unbelievable. I wish I could bottle that smell. But anyways, we got through the tour. It was really interesting. I was enjoying the history. We got to the tasting. I think it was Talisker Storm that was being poured, and I took one sip of it. I'm thinking, I don't like it. I really, really don't like it. It's not for me. And I sort of muscled my way through the 10 ml sample or whatever it was, and like, no, I don't think that's it. And so, all right, that was the end of it. And then we get back to the bunkhouse we were staying in, and my friend picked up a bottle of Lefroy at one of the Tesco's, and so she's pouring that for us because she's in a good mood. I'm like, hey, there's something here. There's like vanilla underneath the piles and piles of bonfire. But I don't know. And then by the end of the trip, I had gotten interested enough that it had at least captured my attention. And then I got back, and I was sort of curious. I wonder if that liquor cabinet I almost never go into has any whiskey in it. And lo and behold, there's a bottle of Chivas Regal 12. And so I go to the cupboard, I pick up the fanciest glass we have, the most snifter looking thing, and I pour a little bit, and I'm like, that's not bad. That's really not bad. I can get into this. And so I killed the bottle within a couple of weeks. Eventually, I picked up another one, and I think it was by then that I stumbled across the Tribe. I wasn't a Modern Rogue fan, but I stumbled across the How to Taste Whiskey with Modern Rogue video, and that directed me to the Tribe. And then I think my next bottle it might have been Compass Box Oak Cross after that, and that was really good. And then there's not much else after that. That's basically the end of that story. So yeah, I'm glad I found something I got into.
Yeah, same. It's one of those things. It's one of those things where I guess maybe I'm not too sure how you feel about this, Josh, but being um, not being involved in something and then uh, getting very quickly initiated into a certain culture or topic, in this case whiskey, and just finding your place very quickly is a very, very interesting experience. And I'm very happy that it was for myself and for other people. But I've always found myself, I jump into everything very quickly, and I'm either extremely satisfied with the decision or extremely disappointed with it. And I'm very happy that this was an extremely, extremely positive experience, getting involved with the tribe and with everybody and meeting people and really sharing something fairly special. Like whiskey is one thing, but then sharing like experiences and the sort with people from around the country and around the world is very fulfilling in a way.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
It couldn't have come along really at a better time for me. I had a lot of just bad things happen, small and large, back to back to back in the last year, and this community came around at about the same time, and really just having something to immerse myself in, to learn about, to focus on, to nerd out about, right?
Yeah.
Was really helpful. And then to have it be so positive and inclusive and give a creative outlet and watch other people have a creative outlet with it was helpful more than I think anybody realizes, for me. So
yeah.
Been an incredibly positive experience.
That's fantastic.
Oh, ditto.
I can get behind that too. I've been dealing with a bunch of personal things the last couple of years, and being involved in this specific community has really sort of helped me mentally solidify specific passions and feelings and that sort of thing, and really not giving me for lack of a better term, distraction, but something to really focus my energy on,
Right.
and in a very positive way, and really alcohol consumption for me is a very tricky subject. I need to be careful with it, because at a certain point it gets I don't get bad negatively. It's just mentally I start kind of like shutting down a little bit.
Right.
So
Sure.
the being part of the community and learning to appreciate appreciating whiskey specifically, because once I learned how to really drink it and appreciate and slow down with consumption and that sort of thing, is really sort of rounded out my social life as well when I go out and drink. And it's giving me a really nice baseline balance point to be like, let's keep it at this level and we're good.
Sure.
And really and I talk about it a lot. My depression has been a struggle, but I finally sort of found that point of in the seesaw where it's right in the middle, and the tribe kind of helped bring it back where it needs to be, in one way or another, with everybody talking and learning about things. It's given me a really nice perspective of things. So I'm sure there's other people that deal with things and whatnot. A lot of people don't find it comfortable to talk about it. I've always since day one when I found out, I don't shy away from it. I talk about it, and it's given me more peace. So the community has really helped that. So I hope that if everyone's watching, or now or later, if you watch this and you're hearing it, if you need someone to talk to, reach out to anybody. Really, it's don't be afraid. It's all good. You're good, and it only gets better. So yeah.
Absolutely, man. That's very well said. I think that I've made more friends, people that I have met and people that I haven't actually met in person in the last 12 months or something than in the last few years. I think it's been an exponential increase in the number of awesome people that I've interacted with. And, there's been a handful of interactions that weren't so pleasant either. People I managed to annoy or piss off or whatever, but
there's always going to be those people, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's something, having that experience where it's been 99% positive and 1% negative.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard not
Josh,
to.
if you really like me that little, I mean, you can just say so. It's okay if you hate me that much.
Well, we have one sommelier amongst us.
Service of Psalm.
Right.
If I could, I would.
How you got into
that, Vito? You among us, you should know that if I could serve you something, I would. Through the internet somehow.
I know that if you could service me, you would. So
hey,
let's not turn into this kind of stream.
In the tribe,
Yes, you're a generous human being.
But I don't know how Brad got into whiskey.
No, sorry, you don't know how I got into whiskey?
No, I don't know the story actually.
He dropped from the heavens.
That's right. I was generated via no. So I've known Brian Brushwood for quite a number of years.
Oh, really?
Okay. Through his different podcasts and different things. Mm-hmm. And I was actually working at Shopify when he started scamstuff.com. They hosted it through Shopify. Gotcha. And I happened to see his name and his website sort of through the scroll of new accounts, because there was so few accounts back then that there was actually just a scrolling list. And I recognized his name from the podcast that I watched. I reached out and we sort of got to know each other a little bit through that. And I helped deal with a lot of website stuff while I was working there. And I ended up being a big fan of Modern Rogue when that started up. And much like with the ridiculous nonsense I did with the Tribe Demigod shenanigans in the first month of the Tribe Patreon, I did the same thing with Modern Rogue when they started their Patreon, and I picked their highest tier just to be a ridiculous person. And so I went out, because of that, I went out and I flew out and visited them for a weekend and just did a bunch of Modern Rogue-y things. And just previously to that, they had done the whiskey tastings with Daniel at the Vault. So one of the things we did was we went to the Vault and we had a tasting with Daniel, with Brian and Jason and Brian's wife and a couple of people. And that was basically my first taste of whiskey neat that I can remember. Like, I've had Crown and Coke randomly, like as a teenager or whatever, like different nonsense, but I've never really been a whiskey drinker at all before that. So I was up for trying. I wasn't against alcohol or anything, but I hadn't really no experience with whiskey at all. So we do this tasting. He does a taste of a tour of the world. So just different, a bourbon, a scotch, all kinds of different, very different taste profiles. And by the end of it, I came out of it sort of thinking like, wow, whiskey can taste pretty good and can taste like a lot of different things. I need to explore this further. And so I sort of got into the whole tribe thing, and I'm very obsessive. So I went through all of the episodes until that point, and I jumped onto the Patreon when that became a thing. And I don't half-ass things. So I became very, very obsessed.
Hashtag Brad Butt. Sorry.
Brad Butt. Yeah.
Hashtag Brad Butt.
Hashtag Brad Butt. So because I'm not very good at half-assing things, I've just absorbed whiskey culture, and a large part of that is thanks to the tribe and just how friendly everybody is, and it's just been a crazy experience as a extreme shut-in, like to almost hermit levels, to have a group of people that were just sort of instantly welcoming was amazing. And I have been more social in the last sort of 6 to 8 months that I've been really into the tribe than probably previously in my entire life, including meeting several Magnificent Bastards in person. That would have been crazy to me a few years ago.
Sure.
It's an interesting. Sorry, Brad. Continue.
No, that's just how I got started, and I haven't stopped yet. I've just been very quickly building a collection and exploring whiskey and finding out that I very, very much love anything Isla or Island, anything peated, anything high proof.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to treat me very well so far.
What's interesting, now, Adam and Josh, are you guys, do you guys at some level consider yourselves introverts, or are you more extroverts?
If I feel comfortable with people, I can get really extroverted, but in general, I'm pretty introverted. So if I'm in a group of friends in which I feel comfortable, I probably talk too much. But
right.
Other than that, I tend to be pretty reserved.
Yeah, Adam.
Yeah, I've certainly tended more towards the extrovert side of things lately. With a meeting. I basically know my entire department at school. It's like the smallest department in the arts and science faculty, so everybody knows everybody, and I've been getting involved, and then this came along afterwards. So I used to be perfectly fine spending a lot of time by myself, and I still am. I still do spend a lot of time by myself, but I'm feeling the grab of of interacting with other people more and more, which has been a real change, actually. And it's not something I was prepared for, expecting, but especially because I'm a young guy. I'm 21. I'm thinking about coming out of high school. Yeah, I'm the whiskey baby.
You're the whiskey millennial.
I am the whiskey millennial.
The whiskey baby.
God, I hate that title.
Sound quite.
I hate that. All right, whatever. I'll wear it with pride if I have to.
You're the golem, buddy. You're the golem.
All right. Well, that guy's the golem. I put a scarf on him while we were talking. Oh. There we go. He's got a tiny scarf. But yeah, I'm feeling the urge to hang out with people more and do more and interact more with people.
Yeah. So I guess we're all in the same boat, where the tribe has really helped expedite evolving out of that extroverted state into being very social and comfortable meeting people and doing all of that. My quick story, prior to the vault, extreme introvertness was like my natural environment. And in high school, that was me. Like, don't talk to me. I'm me. That's it. Outside of once I finished high school, I was like, I need to change. I don't like not being able to meet people. So I found any opportunity I could to put myself out there. Whether I'm at a restaurant, talking to the waitress or the waiter, being the loudest person at the table, trying to just force myself into situations that I normally wouldn't find myself in. And it would always kind of drive my friends a little bit crazy because it's like, well, why is Vito acting this way, this and that. You know, it took a while to kind of round that out. So being involved in the tribe has really sort of given me was a very interesting entry point in my life, where it was like, I'm entering into something and I'm going to try and do this as cleanly and as comforting as I can, coming from a point of an introvert, but trying to be that extroverted individual. And it was as nice as I could have ever imagined it being, just because of the just everybody like the Facebook group wide just being as accepting as they are. And it's a very comforting feeling, and I'm hoping that everyone else is feeling that as well. And obviously us having just shared that, I'm hoping that everybody else is feeling that way. And if they're not, I'm hoping that they can reach out, and hopefully we can, you know, if they want to, we can help in some sort of way.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
I'll say.
It's a great. Honestly, it's one of the best groups of collective individuals that I can think of, except for that one guy today who was posting about how, or was it yesterday, posting about how we're all just Daniel and Rex's. You saw that, right? I was so confused.
I am sorry to say, guys, I forgot to get Daniel and Rex's permission to do this stream and talk about all this stuff. So I'm going to have to take this down later.
Oh shit!
I was so confused at that post. I honestly didn't know how to respond to it.
Like, I think if anything, we don't talk enough about Daniel and Rex.
I don't think I ever mentioned them in any of my posts that ever like.
It was so weird.
Yeah, that's very strange, man. Like, and I had this impulse to go and like defend myself and justify myself in that, and I indulged it a little bit. And I thought, you know what?
Who cares,
This is
right?
just not going anywhere. It's not going to go anywhere positive, certainly.
You don't play chess with pigeons, Josh. Come on.
Yes, exactly. I wanted to say, no. See, I like this and that before I even knew the whiskey vault was a thing, you see, so it doesn't matter. Why argue?
It's like, you know, people, the one guy calls him out. It's like, yeah, so are you saying that the majority of the tribe didn't like peated whiskey until they discovered the Whiskey Vault channel? The guy's like, yes. What? How can you possibly claim that? Insane.
Yeah. And even if people are taking cues from Daniel and Rex, I mean, I even outside of whiskey, I mean, I've learned a lot of things from watching and interacting with those guys, and you know, Rex in particular.
Yeah.
His perspective on you know, if you're going to do something and you feel like that's who you are, and you're putting yourself out there honestly, and it's real and it's interesting, you're going to have some people that really love what you're doing and really just get your vibe, and then other people are just going to hate it. And if everybody was happy with you, that would be boring, right?
Yeah, because I remember a couple of Tribe episodes ago. Well, I think it was a Tribe episode. He was talking about, it was one of the ones where they were sitting down. They were talking about, I think, the marketing, and he was talking about transparency and how he sort of looks forward to seeing the dislike, the thumbs downs appear on the Tribe videos, because he's like, if we're doing everything to please what we have, we're not expanding ourselves.
Exactly.
Which is a really interesting perspective on things, because myself, I would think that you want to please your base, but if you're not displeasing some people, you're not expanding yourselves and putting yourself out there more. Which at the time when he said that, everything flooded into mind, like from music to politics, everything was like, oh, this is why people do those things is to bring more people in. And it was a very interesting realization, that at a subconscious level, I realized it, but I never really took it in.
Yeah, the thing that's engaging, the thing that makes people interested is authenticity, right?
Yeah.
Not pandering.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's really astounding what's been built and so quickly.
For sure. They do a very good job of sort of enforcing values and within the tribe that just
Right.
create a very good experience for at least most people.
Right. There's a set of norms, a set of expectations, an unwritten set of rules that when people violate them, the folks that get it are repulsed.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. On that note of repulsion, I'm about exhausted, so I'm going to check out, guys.
Alrighty.
This has been an absolute blast, as always.
Yeah.
I love these roundtable style streams.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, we'll have to try to do it maybe a little more organized. Like
we say this every time,
at
Brad.
a certain time or something like that, so that people can try to follow it. I don't know, but we'll work it out.
Okay. Well,
Sure.
again, enjoy all your whiskeys.
Nice seeing you, buddy.
Have a good night. Good to see you all. I'll catch you. I don't know.
Catch you whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a basically social shut-in, it's been very interesting having the tribe sort of quickly become my social circle. Essentially, wife, child, tribe, parents, I guess, coworkers. That's it.
I'm really happy when I was out in Ottawa that we met up, Brad. It was
yeah, no, it was great.
It was a lot of fun. I had a real nice time there.
I'm really sorry that we drank so much that you missed your concert, but
honestly, it was
well.
What was the concert?
Dave Matthews Band.
Okay.
And I had never seen them live. I really wanted to see them, but we had so much whiskey that day. I got back to my cousin's place. He was already at the venue. I buzzed in to his apartment to get changed. I made it into his apartment, and he woke me up 5-6 hours later. He's like, "Dude, where the fuck were you?" And I was like, I was clearly right here. I was like, "What time is it?" I was still in my clothes. I was over the cover. I passed out on his bed, not even the spare bed. I just stumbled and just passed out wherever I could. But
we had a few.
I had just a few. Yeah, but honestly, it was worth it. I don't regret it. It was a lot of fun hanging out, and I'm really glad that we ended up going out to that restaurant, and hopefully next time I'm in town now, maybe we can see if we can get like a whiskey tasting happening over there. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure.
What's that you got there, Josh?
This is the Colkegan single malt from New Mexico. The place I did the stream.
Nice.
Of their tour the other day.
Yeah, that was a great tour.
Yeah, with Neil deGrasse Tyson of booze. Yeah, that guy was amazing. The owner, Colin, was really cool. He's a British guy he was an architect for a while, and then he had an apple orchard, and he started making apple brandy and just got really into it and decided he wanted to open a distillery. And so here he is today making this single malt and a bunch of other things. And I asked them, I said, okay, so you guys make a vodka, you make a gin, you make an apple brandy, you make a couple of liqueurs, and then you make this kind of flagship single malt and a few variations. Do you have intentions to expand beyond that? Because I think what you're doing is really interesting, and the product is amazing. And they said, no, we kind of do what we do. There's no bourbon on the horizon. There's no rye, in the works here. We kind of have a focus on what we're doing, and we're just going to try and do that as well as we can.
Nice.
Yeah. So this is it's a single malt. It's about 30% of the barley is mesquite smoked.
Ooh.
And then they age it in a mix of new and used barrels. So they get barrels from Buffalo Trace and Four Roses and a bunch of different bourbon distilleries, and then they have new oak barrels as well. So I don't know. I'm a huge fan. There's a distillery here called Ranger Creek that makes a mesquite smoked single malt called Rimfire.
Yeah, I feel like there's been a review of that. Right?
I posted a little tiny review of it earlier today because I poured the last little bit of the bottle that I had down the drain, and I never do that. That's not a thing that I do. But I had to do it today because it was so bad. This, however, is magic.
Nice.
Well, James it just mentioned a smoky whiskey sour.
Yeah, James told me he had the Colkagan before. It's good stuff, man.
So a good friend of mine, during the first quarterly challenge, my buddies all decided to go to a local whiskey bar that I've been dying to go to, knowing full well that I was in the middle of a dry week. They are just the worst. No, they're the best kind of friends. That's exactly what I would have done. But they're like, oh, I was like, oh, I'm dry this week, blah, blah, blah. They're like, okay, that's fine. We can still go out and have fun, blah, blah, blah. They come over and then we'll all go down together. So I get there, we drive downtown Toronto, and we get there and they're like, oh yeah, we're going to CC Lounge. I was like, you bastards. I was like, I can't drink. They're like, yeah, that's exactly why we came here. I was like, okay. So we proceeded to go inside. I had the bartender make me some virgin cocktail. It was kind of good, but whatever. And all my buddies asked me to open up my list of whiskeys that I wanted to try. And this was back in February when I was still sort of trying things out and seeing where I fell into, what pocket of, flavors I liked. And so they all tried whiskeys off the list that I wanted to try, which was like just killer for me that night. It was awful. But one of my buddies had the bartender make him a whiskey sour with Dewar's 18.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
And he's not a Scotch guy, but he didn't know that. He just he saw Dewar's 18. He's like, I want that. He's like, can you make like a cocktail with that? So the bartender was like, okay, no problem. So he made a whiskey sour with Dewar's 18. And my buddy who hates Scotch was like, this is one of the best cocktails I've ever had. And to this day, I still haven't tried a whiskey sour made with a Scotch. So I'm very curious. James was talking about making it with what you're having. So I'm very, very intrigued to try that at some point.
Yeah, it's really interesting, man. It's like a Scotch at its core, I guess, but then it's very much not.
Yeah.
At the same time, right?
There's that smoky flavor. I would guess would be the.
Well, it's an entirely different kind of smoke note, though, right? It's being hardwood mesquite smoked.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Just like that. Just sorry, I shouldn't have posed it like a Scotch smoke, just like a smoke in general. Because I've had whiskey sours before, and it's been nice. But just having a smoke, and I love. You said it was mesquite, Russell. Like I love mesquite. That mesquite sense all around is just a great overall flavor. Taste and through the nose and everything. So that would be something I would love to try.
Right, and it's very different from Brimstone's smoke note too, which that's oak. So I find that really interesting. That Brimstone has more of a vanilla cinnamon kind of thing going on, whereas Mesquite's a little more bright, maybe a little more sharp.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
I bought
Super interested to
6
try
bottles of the variations of this Colcagen. So
that sounds real tasty.
yeah.
Who do we have on? Can we see? Can we see who's watched? Six people are watching us right now.
Yep.
I think we had like upwards of 15 or something like that at one point. I haven't been checking it often, but
Yeah, so it was something like 15 or so,
Sure.
which is surprising given all the technical difficulties we started with. But,
yeah.
oh well.
Hey, Josh, Gretchen was commenting on some stuff while she was up there.
Oh yeah, I haven't read any of it.
I told her to get back downstairs and to get on the stream.
Oh yeah, let's see if that happens.
That's definitely not going to happen. That was like 20 minutes ago. She's gone.
That's definitely not happening. Did you guys see the what Canadian Hunter, right?
Yeah,
I
with the
saw
googly
that
eyes.
post earlier.
yeah. So that's my good friend Jared. He lives about 10 minutes away from my house or so. We used to work together, and so I've known that guy for a long time. That was some top-notch shenanigans, I think.
It was. He got it really close to some Ardbeg 21, though. I don't know.
That's true. So I'm planning to hang out with Jared on Thursday night. I've gotten him back into the whiskey thing. He used to be huge into Scotch and have a huge collection and everything, and that kind of fell by the wayside when he didn't have friends that were into it. And now it seems like I get twice a week or so a picture from his passenger seat in his car of 8 or 10 new bottles that he's picked up, building up his new collection. So he's dived back in with both feet.
So James goes, think North Carolina versus Texas barbecue in the smoke for oak versus mesquite.
Yeah.
I would assume NC is North Carolina.
Yeah. You can see that. Yeah, mesquite always to me has kind of a sharper, brighter thing going on. Like even on barbecue, like with brisket or anything like that. Oak has a little more of a perfumey, vanilla, kind of a gentle, rich smoke, as opposed to something that's more spiky.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think I've had anything with mesquite smoke yet.
Whiskey. You're talking about whiskey related, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, if you haven't, next time I come out to Ottawa, we're gonna just go to any sort of smokehouse that's available over there.
Yeah, no, I've had smoked meat and things with that.
How is the barbecue scene up in Canada? I have no idea.
Multicultural.
It's okay here and there. It's it's not Austin.
It's probably better in Toronto than Ottawa.
It is.
Ottawa's very small, but Toronto has a good mix of everything. Like Toronto's good that way. It's like if you want something, there is that thing.
Yeah, you can find it.
You can find it. Now, it's the jack of all trades for international cuisine. Right. At its culinary core, there are a lot of very good things. Like you can spot out the best in Toronto for this or that, but in the grand scheme of things, nothing's like where it belongs. Right. So you can get great like Texas barbecue down in Toronto, like authentic chips and smokers and all the like, but it's never the same as down there,
Right. That's kind of the very definition of terroir.
Yeah. So, but you have a better chance in Toronto of getting something more as close to authentic in terms of just about anything culinary than probably anywhere else in Canada.
Sure.
Maybe Vancouver, but not so much. Toronto's definitely the place in Canada to go for like anything multicultural.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah. Josh, I have to say, I was talking to James about this a couple of weeks ago because we were talking about the launch party and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm in Vegas at least twice a year now, and most likely next I'm going to be in Vegas in August.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stay and then go to Austin, which was a big. I'm just so upset about it for the launch party. But next February, the dates haven't been finalized yet, but I'll probably be in Vegas again in February at some point. I really want to try and plan to come over to Austin. And if I do, I'd love to do like a meetup with you at some point. Whether it be like somewhere local or at the vault or something, I'd love to meet up with you and do something.
Of course, man. Yeah, absolutely.
And Gretchen as well, right?
Yeah, I love doing that, and so does she. We kind of live for that, honestly. So I've had, being sort of the local guy that's pretty active, I've had two questions, more than anything else, come from a bunch of different people. Can you take me places where I can find a bunch of cool whiskey? And can you show me where I can get the best barbecue?
Want me to tell you right now what my question is going to be?
What's that? Where's
your dog?
Probably asleep in the living room.
I just want to play with Elle. I just want to snuggle her.
Yeah. She's the sweetest dog in the world, but huskies are notoriously a little standoffish until they know you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's been my experience of other huskies as well. Is, I come up to them, I'm like, hey, buddy, and they don't want anything to do with you, but you give them an hour or two to warm up and feel comfortable, and now they're the sweetest thing in the world.
I'm a dog person, so I'm right away. Like I had one of my neighbors come by the other day with his dog, who's a terror apparently, and within 3 minutes the dog was obedient, just sitting right beside me. My neighbor was like, I've never seen her like this.
Right.
I was like, I don't know. I just have this effect on animals. I love dogs. Dogs are like everything. Like I just love just hanging out and just like being with dogs. So yeah, but yeah, there will be no questions about barbecue or whiskey. It'll be fine. It's just a quick hangout. Have a couple of drams somewhere at the distillery or wherever's more convenient for you guys, because I don't want to put you guys out going anywhere or whatnot.
Oh no, believe me, we've had to shut ourselves down a little bit recently, like going to Balcones, going to Garrison Brothers, going out to Wizard Academy, etc. Balcones is killing me right now with the 10th anniversary special releases. It's too much. I have to drive to Waco every month because it's stuff that's only at the distillery. The French Oak, the rum cask finished single malt, the Mirador, the peated single malt. They're coming out with a high rye version of their bourbon. God knows what else. So they're doing amazing things there. In fact, I'm going to be there in a couple of weeks to take a class.
How far is Waco from where you are?
Hour and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a trip, but not too bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad, but it's a hike.
Yeah. It's an hour and a half would be like from where I am to Buffalo with zero traffic.
Sure. I'm going to New York actually in a couple of weeks to the middle of nowhere, Binghamton, New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not actually that far for me. Probably like 3 hours.
Oh, really?
Like that? A little more?
Yeah, it's a work thing. to an amplifier manufacturer there. So. You should come rescue me from my incredibly boring salesman.
Oh, that's just south of Syracuse. That's not. That's about a 3.5-hour drive from where I am.
Huh. No, seriously, come save me from him. He's the worst.
Yeah, so about 4 hours from me.
Yeah.
So it'll be a bit of a trip.
Right.
James, James just wants everybody to go to Vegas.
I know, right?
It's true.
When you go to Vegas, is it?
And you should, because he's fun to hang out with.
I'm gonna look forward to that. What? Sorry, Josh, what'd you say?
Are you a casino guy when you go out there, or what? What's the?
No, honestly, I'm not big on gambling.
Yeah.
Like if I go, so I've only been to Vegas once, and that was in February. And the only reason why I went, so I'm working at opening up my own menswear store for suits and that sort of thing. That's my profession. That's my what my career is. I do fashion consulting and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
And in Vegas, twice a year they have a big buyers convention. So I've been going there with my uncle, who's in the business, who has his own company, boutique and whatnot. So he's showing me the ropes and whatnot. So I went in February the first time. I'm going again in a couple of weeks. I'm going to go again in February and August every year, probably from here on out. But when I was in February, I went to the casino once. I put $20 on the roulette table because I asked my fantasy football group to give me a color and a number, and I averaged it all out, put $20 on it, and if I won anything, I was gonna cater our draft.
Yeah.
I didn't win anything, so it's pizza and cheap beer again.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not big on casinos. I'm going back to before. I'm a completionist. I'm obsessive. I get very, very competitive, especially if I start losing. It's I'd rather not put myself in a spot where I know that sometimes better judgment may escape me.
Sure.
Right. So it's I'd rather, if I do play, I go in no cards, no credit, no nothing. I go in with like $100.
Right.
And I spend $100 or $50 or whatever I decide to spend. I spend that and I'm out.
Expecting to lose it.
Like I just go, this is how much money I have left over. I'll go in with that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I'm not big on the casino scene. But when I was there in February, like I said, I spent maybe 5 minutes in the casino. The rest of the 5 days I was there, super fun. Met a couple of locals. Had a good time. I was there by myself. I wasn't even there with my uncle. He couldn't make it, so I ended up just being there by myself, and it was a lot of fun. Even without going to the casino or the pools being open or anything, I had a good time.
Yeah. I used to be a big poker player, and that was the last time I went to Vegas. I was really into that, but I'm not so much anymore. I did have an experience there in I forget which casino. Bellagio, maybe? Yeah, I think maybe that. Everybody had kind of just gotten there. It was for a friend's wedding, and we all, arrived and had some drinks and stuff, and we're waiting for the last few people to get in from the airport and all that. And I put a few dollars into a slot machine, and we're just kind of wasting time, and I won nothing, and I get up from it, and it was right then the people we were waiting on, they arrive. And a friend of mine, he was, guy from Detroit, comes and sits down right after me at the exact same slot machine, puts in a single $20 bill, and wins $1,000 right off the bat.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
He turned around like a good sport and said, "Here, here's $20 on me. But no, yeah, and I know there's a lot more to offer. I went to Bobby Flay's restaurant when I was there, which was really fantastic, and there's a lot more to do than casinos. And I imagine whiskey bars there probably are incredible.
So when I was there, it was pretty much a couple of weeks after I had that Lafroig quarter cask that kind of opened my mind, and I was sold into the whiskey, but I wasn't my palate hadn't been expanded, right? And they have a bar down there, 2 bars, same name, called the Double Helix, and a good amount of everything: rye, bourbons, scotches, world whiskeys, all the like.
Right.
And I went there twice, both to the location in the Venetian, because the other one that they have was at a mall at the very southern end of the strip that I didn't want to take an Uber to. But I didn't explore it enough. But there's that. The Double Helix is apparently really cool. There's a lot of other, like, little bit more high profile ones that I've heard of that I really just honestly don't feel like spending the money going to, while I'm there. But if I win anything at the casino, maybe I'll indulge myself a little bit.
Right.
But otherwise, there are whiskey bars, but it's Vegas, so obviously, you know, you're going in there knowing that you're paying more than really what's normally acceptable for an ounce or 2 ounces.
Right. Yeah. No, there's a place. I think it originated in another city, but there's a place that a few folks in the tribe have recommended to me that's in downtown Austin, and I live on the northernmost bit of Austin, like one street over. It's a different city. But I don't go downtown much unless it's to see a band or something like that. But there's a place called 7 Grand in downtown Austin that looks incredibly impressive, in terms of a whiskey selection. And it's going to be the same thing where you're going to pay a insane amount compared to just drinking whiskey at home. But it seems worthwhile, especially if kind of thing you probably won't find out in stores that much, or maybe you don't want to commit to an entire bottle, but hey, maybe you might pay that $20 for a pour or whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, James just got home. He's probably going to open up a bottle.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. I think I'm not sure how you guys are feeling.
Watching us at work all this time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
dedication.
How are you guys feeling about this? Do you want to keep this going?
I mean, I can hang out for a little bit if you guys can, but it is damn near midnight for me.
It's about 1 a.m. here, and I do technically have to work tomorrow, I guess. Which is
Taylor small batch. Hey, I have that. I think, yeah.
You know what? If we're gonna end off on bourbon, let me get my wild turkey. Hold on.
Ooh, which wild turkey?
101.
101. I have 101. Also,
I don't have any of that. I'll have to make do with my no name, I guess.
Aww. Slumming.
I know, it's such a shame, right?
Slumming it. Taylor or the 101? James says, "Don't leave me."
But you got to have some Taylor with James, I think, before we close out.
That's probably true. That's probably true. All right. How is that?
Taylor barrel proof. That's probably got some kick to it.
It's not. I don't have barrel proof, so. How is the no name?
It is amazing. All of the talk of smoked meat made me pull out the no name, because I just get just such a meaty, oily, greasy flavor out of it. So good.
You know what? Maybe here's what I'm gonna do too.
Oh God. Oh.
Since this was being debated.
The
last,
Dorland.
yeah.
I like those glass. I like the Norland.
It does, it does feel a little weird on the lip of it. But
I got one over here. It's dirty, sitting on the desk. But
101 for Chris over here. Yeah.
64.8 ABV. That'll do it.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
So this is the bourbon that I've been using for all of my whiskey, my old fashions.
Yeah, it's great in cocktails, man, because it has enough rye and spiciness to it. That
what I found is that just compared to everything else, the high proof just stands up to the ice.
Yeah, it doesn't disappear.
Yeah, exactly. You still heavily taste, and that's one of the reasons why I feel like I've been really acclimating well to bourbons. Is that it just holds up really nicely. So I still getting that bourbon, that strong bourbon flavor, but
I need to get you some of this Balcones Blue Corn bourbon. This was one that was pointed out to me the other day by a certain person that if you like Balcones Blue Corn bourbon, I will forever disregard any opinion that you have on whiskey.
If you don't,
that was an interesting thread.
If you like Balcones Blue Corn bourbon, you are forever disregarded.
Why would that be?
Well, just because he thinks it's bad, and
yeah,
his taste governs.
It was very strange.
It's like the thread that was on today. I didn't see that thread you're talking about, but it was like that thread today with that, I don't know, just that very opinionated individual.
Yeah, same guy.
Oh, what's this? Tell me you're lying. Tell me it's not the same guy.
I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same guy?
Yeah.
Oh man, that guy.
I just I don't know.
He's not
Can't win them all.
He's not our people yet.
Baby blue or blue corn? Blue corn bourbon is what I'm talking about. I'll grab it real quick. I'm not going to have any because it's fucking 65% alcohol, but this one is what I'm talking about. This is what disqualifies me as a whiskey aficionado right here.
Yeah, I mean, clearly you don't know what you're talking about. You have no taste.
Josh, just pack it in. You give me all your whiskeys and just call it a day.
Yeah, I just got to turn in all my whiskey.
It's a real shame.
Surrender it.
It's gonna take a while, but I'm pretty sure me and Brad can bring it over the border.
It's going to take a lot of trips.
Yeah.
It's going to take a lot of trips, but if it needs to be done, it needs to be done.
We'll do it for science.
Chris says he likes that one. I don't like that one as something. I don't have any illusion about the fact that it's aggressive, intense, not gentle at all, right?
Spooky.
Wait, are you
I have a hold on.
It's gotten so late that Josh's lights have decided to give out on him.
So I do audio, video, and home automation systems for a living, including lighting control. So when you do that for a living, your house becomes a little bit of a laboratory.
I'd love that.
Yeah. So all my lights turn off at midnight.
Nice. That's one thing when I finally move out and I buy a house, like I want someone to just come in and I want to tell them I want all of this to be done. I want like all that automated. I just want everything automated. Lights, everything, and just do it and just have the person just set everything up.
That's essentially I design those systems and say how much it's going to cost.
Josh, just come over and just set us up with stuff.
Hey, come over once Brad's buying, you know, in the market, just bought a new house.
Literally, I'm closing on a house at the end of the month. So,
right? Yeah, that's right.
Come on down.
James,
I've got a bunch of hue lights and all that already, but it's not like.
Well, no, that's a similar technology. I mean, I'm usually doing it on a multi-million-dollar house kind of scale, right? But it's a similar thing.
Yeah.
Gretchen said it's time to go to bed.
That's not wrong.
You know, yeah, Gretchen keeps me reeled in a little bit.
She's not wrong. I would hesitate to say that Gretchen is wrong.
Yeah, it's usually best to just say no, you're right.
Right. As long as you have enough to do the toast, then it's okay.
Yes.
I handled the Norland glass once, and I didn't really like the way it felt.
In the hand, or like drinking from it?
Both.
Okay. It feels great in my hand. I love it because I have stupid mutant long fingers, so it's much better than the Glencairn in my hand.
You can get a big,
but the lip is definitely thick.
Yeah. You can get a big meat paw on it. Just grip it.
Yeah.
What's weird is, so I don't have the largest of hands, but I do have longer than normal fingers. And I guess growing up, I would always be playing Game Boy Pocket or Game Boy Color, and all the time my fingers would be like entangled behind things, and I would be playing them. So I just got used to holding smaller objects in my hand. So like when I'm holding big bottles or big glasses or anything, I'd feel uncomfortable. I'd rather be holding. I find smaller things easier to hold for whatever reason. It's very strange. Yeah, there's a lot of jokes in there.
There's a ton of jokes.
No comment.
Training from.
I was waiting for someone to just kind of intervene, but I was like, I'll let it happen. I was like, okay, at the end, once I finish, I'll be like, there's jokes, but you know what? We'll stay away from them.
That's fine. What happens in the tribe stays in the tribe. We all know this.
So yeah, so I just find the Norland glass is a bit too big. I prefer the way the Glencairn feels. And even when I'm holding the Glencairn rocks, I don't hold it by the base. I hold it by the smallest point, which is like the nozzle. It's very strange. I'm one of the only people that I know that likes that. James, be quiet, you.
What about other than the like tactile feel of it, right?
The Norland,
or any glass, yeah, but the Norland.
The Norland specifically, the tactile feel, and then the just the way it feels when I'm drinking, like the lip's too thick for me.
Yeah, no.
The lip is a little bit thick. It's not a deal breaker for me.
It's not, no.
Definitely
for me, it's all the small things add up to be that deal breaker.
What about how it affects the nose and the taste?
The last time I tried the Norland was really before I was into whiskey. So I was just drinking like a cocktail out of it or something. So I wasn't really appreciating very much out of it. And then what I can say is, at least from the majority of what I've seen, is that the Glencairn is superior for discovering the whiskey, for really diving into it. I'd be curious to try it now that I have a bit more of a grasp on everything concerning, nosing and tasting and whatnot.
Next time you're here, we should do some side by sides.
I'm down
and compare.
Like I said, Brett, last time I was hoping to do like a review or something with you last time I was over, but not that I'm disappointed with how everything turned out, but I definitely want to do like something, either a review or a side by side with you when next time I'm over for your channel.
Yeah, next time you're down, I should have the new setup at the new place, so it'll be a lot easier to record videos randomly like that.
I like James's toast there. If you guys,
that is an amazing.
That's really good. No, I like bourbon out of a larger glass, like a Norland or even a rocks glass, right? Scotch has a bit more complexity to it usually, that lends itself to a Glencairn.
Yeah,
Not
that's fair.
yeah.
That's fair. I mean, I don't notice that much of a difference
It's
on
subtle.
the nose of the taste with between the Glencairn and the Norland, but I'm also like totally crap at tasting notes. So
Like I said, there's
who
only
knows?
one sommelier amongst us right now. So
That just means I'm silly enough to go and put the money down and put in the work. It's
Josh,
that's
you
the beginning of my learning is the sommelier level 1
right.
class.
Josh,
I'm just at the start of my journey.
do you plan on taking the course as well, Josh, at some point?
I plan on signing up for the next one. Actually, yeah, yeah. We've talked about it, and Gretchen's pretty interested in the marketing business leadership side of it, right?
Yeah, no, it'll be great. And she can also join in the class, like
Right.
at no charge, which is great.
Right. And I guess technically, because I've taken a course there, I'm considered an alumni, quote unquote. So
Even if you're not, I'm allowed to pass my alumni code to whoever I want. So
yes.
no worries. I
think-
gotcha.
I plan to sign up for the next one. I think it's sometime early next year. I haven't signed up yet, but that's the plan.
Yeah,
When
so
am I going for level 2, James? In November, I'm going for level 2. I've already signed up for the next one.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how long you guys were going to talk, so I figured I'd answer James. I remember you saying it was in November, so I'm glad I remember that correctly.
Yeah. I didn't actually get to meet up with Brad when he was here for the sommelier. We tried to work something out, and then
for some reason, eating a ridiculous amount of barbecue and Mexican food for a week and a half just didn't sit well with me somehow for some reason, and I got horribly sick for a couple of days. So that was really unfortunate. But next time we'll at the distillery opening, we'll definitely be hanging out quite a bit.
Yeah.
So.
Was it the Salt Lick did it to you?
I don't think it was. I think it was Trudy's.
Oh,
that finally sort of just. It was the final thing that did it, but it just I was torturing myself, just gorging on all of the food that I could get. It was.
Brad,
it was not a good plan. But,
I'm thinking you somewhere better than the Salt Lick and Trudy's. I don't mean to hate on the Salt Lick. I know that's the place for whatever.
Oh yeah, no,
that's the place that everybody wants to go, that everybody knows
sure.
of.
And I will definitely go there again when I'm there for the distillery opening. But I will go to other things too, for sure.
Yeah.
There
Chris,
stuff around.
Answering Chris's question, being a non-sommelier, I feel like the only beneficial aspect of it would be as if you have an extensive whiskey menu. If you want to go through the class, but I could be wrong, but that's what I would assume. If it's a whiskey sommelier program, if you don't have an extensive whiskey selection, I don't see it being extremely beneficial.
I mean, there's a lot of marketing involved. It depends on what you want to use it for, but it was a very fun class too. Completely on its own. It was a lot of fun.
Like if I had the money at the moment, like I would take it just for the sake of taking it, just it being a fun thing to do. I'd get down to Austin. I'd meet some new people.
Basically, why I took it.
Yeah,
I'm a crazy person that I was just like, I'm absorbing myself into the world of whiskey. Let's whiskey sommelier class. Yes, sign me up. Let's do it.
It's like I was telling you, Brad, the other day. It's if for no other reason, even if I do nothing with it, I can forever till the day I die say I'm a whiskey sommelier.
Exactly.
Like a badass.
And I have a giant medallion I could beat.
Right.
So, that medallion is so heavy. Way heavier than I thought it would be. But you know what I'm a little disappointed in? That it didn't come with that chain that Daniel has.
That's level 2.
Level 2.
That's level 2.
Yeah, that's level 2. So in November, I will have that chain theoretically.
So what do you get at level 3?
The little
A bald
red
head?
star sort of button thing that goes between the chain and the medallion.
Right. I for the first time ever, I got to see him kind of don the whole sommelier necklace thing and watch him give a Scotch tasting a few weeks ago, and it was really fun. Like I've kind of hung out there when it's downtime, when it's off time, it's happy hour. People are just kind of smoking cigars and drinking whiskey, and there's nothing serious going on.
Right.
But there was a class happening, and he had some people with a Scotch tasting, and to watch him give the Daniel show was pretty fun. You know,
He puts on a good show.
he really does.
The tasting that I did with him with Brian and Jason originally when I first met him, he was definitely on as the sommelier for most of it, and then he kind of broke down, and we just sort of became informal. But he puts on a good show.
He was trying to impress you, Brad.
Gretchen said Daniel breaks your shit. That's true.
That's factual. And I'm so sorry I ghosted you, Gretchen. When I'm down in Austin for this story, we'll hang out. And it is after 1 a.m. here, so I think I'm probably going to have to cut out. If you guys want to continue, by all means.
Well, I will finish this last tiny bit. And
I got just a little bit more of the wild turkey stuff.
How about this? How about James put an amazing toast in the chat?
Sure.
I think we have to end on his toast.
Yep.
So may your scotch be smoky as a fire. May your bourbon be as smooth as a creek. And may the sun be brighter tomorrow. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.